There has been another threat, another assassination attempt against a member of the Trump family, and we're going to cover it. This time, it's Don Jr., and we're in some crazy times with these never-Trumpers and liberals. This is the second threat against one of the children of President Trump in the last couple of weeks. If you remember, just a couple of short weeks ago, there was a plot against Ivanka Trump here in Florida, right? Remember this? They were going to blow up her house. And if you go back through the history of the presidents, not only has President Trump had more assassination attempts against him than all the other presidents combined, I have no recollection of violence and assassination attempts and threats being made against first children before. What's going on here? Well, this one here against Don Jr., this is so frightening to me, and I've got all the details here. We're going to go through it. This is from the United States Attorney's Office in the Western District of New York that's overseeing the case because the guy was in Rochester, New York, all right? So that's where this is coming from. But this is from the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Justice Department. We've got all the details here. And really no national coverage about this. I have some other stories, a couple of other stories on this I'll go over. They're both in basically local news, no mainstream. Here's the press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Rochester man charged with threatening President Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr. Buffalo, New York. U.S. Attorney Michael D. Giacomo announced that James Eckert, 39, of Rochester, New York, was arrested and charged by criminal complaint with threats to kill, kidnap, and inflict bodily harm upon a member of the immediate family of the president, which carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. That's it? That's the maximum? According to the criminal, this is again from the U.S. Attorney's Office press release. According to the criminal complaint, on June 18th, a member of the U.S. Secret Service on duty at the residence of President Donald Trump's son, Don Jr., was alerted that several threats were made against Trump Jr. The threats made in a group chat feed on Trump Jr.'s podcast triggered with Donald Trump Jr., and they give you in this press release the threats, which I'm not going to read, but they're bad. They're all death threats. While viewing the podcast, the man who was arrested, James Eckert, was also streaming himself. He repeated both verbally as well as by post in the live chat similar threats against Trump Jr. So he was live streaming himself at the same time that he was watching Don Jr.'s live stream of his podcast. He was typing threats in Don Jr.'s live chat and was also verbalizing what he was typing in his own live stream. This guy, this is really scary, isn't it? By the way, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, and please like the video. If you're just joining, a man was arrested yesterday, 2 years after the Never-Trumpers shot the president in Butler. Same day, 2-year anniversary of that event yesterday, for making death threats against Don Jr. While viewing the Don Jr. podcast, James Eckert, this is the guy that got arrested yesterday, was also streaming himself. He repeated both verbally as well as by post in the live chat similar threats against Don Jr. for most of the duration of an approximately 8-minute video. The threats included, and then they have them all here. I'm not going to read the threats. They're pretty bad. I mean, they're hardcore and explicit. Prior to the threats made against Don Jr., the arrested man posted a message on Facebook threatening the local mayor. He made an initial appearance between a U.S. magistrate judge and is being held pending a detention hearing on July 20th. The case is being prosecuted. The complaint the result of an investigation by the United States Secret Service on the direction of the special agent in charge of the Secret Service and the Rochester Police Department. The fact that a defendant has been charged with a crime is merely an accusation, and the defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty, they end the press release with. So what is going on with you leftists out there? What's going on with you never Trumpers? What's going on with you Democrats? Why are there death threats and assassination attempts every few days against the president and the Trump family? What's going on with you people? And what really it's crazy to me is that I feel like my program has changed formats. This is a program where we talk about the political news of the day and analyze it and give opinions, and you're all welcome to call in and share your opinions. But because of all of these threats and assassination attempts, I feel like I've become a true crime program. Really. And one of the crazy things about the Democrats and the Never Trumpers with all of this is they feel no guilt whatsoever. In fact, they feel that these things are happening not because of this monster and these lunatics. They feel that the Trumps are responsible for this, right? That they're bringing it upon themselves. So I do have a couple of stories here that did cover it, but it's getting very little news coverage, and I expect it'll continue to get very little news coverage, if any at all. Okay, so listen, this is a story. This is from the local NPR affiliate in New York, WXXI, and all these stories are on my X. You can see, they're both from local news sources. I don't have any national news stories on this, and I did a Google search, a news search, see if there were any national stories on this, and there are none. And the reason there are not national stories on this is pretty simple. They don't want to portray the left as they truly are: evil, dangerous, demonic, dangerous, very dangerous and violent people. And also at the same time, it shows the Trump family are sympathetic and being victimized constantly. You Democrats out there, you need to do some reflection on what's happened to your party. Okay, this is the local NPR affiliate in the Rochester area. Headline: Suspect in Trump Jr. death threats facing hate crime charge for allegedly targeting Mayor Evans. A man accused of threatening to kill President Donald Trump's son was arrested just days earlier and charged with a hate crime targeting the mayor of Rochester. So he was arrested and out on bail from that. James Eckert allegedly made threats online on Donald Trump Jr.'s podcast and in a separate video that he posted on June 18th. That followed threats against the mayor that authorities say the Rochester man posted on Facebook on June 7th. The federal complaint began: an argument can be made that it was safer for everyone to have me perceived as mentally ill, that there was never any cause for that perception, will be addressed over time. Expect I will never forgive anyone, and I will ensure that it was not worth it. The guy, being mentally ill is not an excuse. Most everybody who commits violent crimes and is in prison are mentally ill. Sane people don't harm other people. I mean, so what's changed with the left? What's changed with the left that has made you all so violent? And in all the years I've been talking to Democrats and taking live calls on the radio, Democrats have always been wrong, and there's always been your random loon. But what has changed in the last few years, and it gets worse all the time, is the level of anger, and they justified in their mind the level of hostility that we're getting from Democrats. And when you're looking at politics in this country, we have a system where there's a presidential election every 4 years. All right? Every 4 years there's a presidential election. And sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But when we don't win, and I've been through a lot of elections where we didn't win. I've been doing this for a long time, man. I didn't support Bill Clinton. I didn't support Obama. I didn't support Biden, Otto Pin Biden. We lost. So what do we do? I say, well, we'll give it another go in 4 years. And after President Trump left office after his first term, I spent those 4 years telling you he was going to be reelected. Didn't I tell you that? Those of you who have been listening that long and advocating for that's how the system works. But these liberals, look at how they were celebrating after the death of Lindsey Graham. Now, regardless of what you think happened with Lindsey Graham and his death, one thing that's not up for debate is that liberals were celebrating, acting as if it was a good thing. It doesn't get more bipartisan in the Republican Party than Lindsey Graham. Everybody loved Lindsey Graham on both sides, and the left are celebrating his death. And maybe it's the only people that are left as Democrats are crazy people. That's certainly possible. Michael Savage said many years ago, liberalism is a mental disorder, and it's gotten worse. And it's gotten beyond just a mental disorder. There's an anger component to the never Trumpers and to the liberals that we've never seen before from the left. So what's the root cause of that? There's a lot of reasons, but I think it basically is they're not getting their way. They're spoiled little babies. And because they're not in power, they're freaking out. And not only have they been freaking out because they're not in power, they don't see a path for them to return to power. Their philosophy has been completely rejected by the American people. They have a party with no platform that's losing everywhere, that doesn't even have a party platform. The Democrats don't even have a party platform. Vote for us in the midterms. This is our list of things we're going to do. They got nothing. Impeach Trump. That's it. That's not a platform. You don't build a platform on impeaching a president. And even if that is on your platform, you got to have some other things there, and they got nothing. What? Continue the Somali pirate activity in Minneapolis with the Leering centers and everything? What is their platform? And this level of mental illness, which I often hear on the phones, if you've noticed on the program, you hear some of these liberal callers, nutbags. And a lot of them are pretty frightening, especially with all this violence that's going on. The assassination of Charlie Kirk, the liberals just saying terrible, despicable things in the aftermath of the passing of Lindsey Graham. If people in our party were talking that way, I'd call them out. And here's the reality. And this is why the national media, they're not covering this Don Jr. story, but I'm covering it. They're not covering it, I'm covering it. It's because, we've got a problem in this country that they don't want to face. They don't want to state. They don't want out there. And the problem is we've got a major problem in this country with left-wing political violence. That's it. There's a massive wave of left-wing political violence in the United States. Now, if you're new to the program, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome. Make sure that you subscribe, those of you that are new. And everyone, please like the video, guys. When you like the video, it gets the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel. So please like the video. That's greatly appreciated. And if you get that hype option made available and you take advantage of that, that would be appreciated too. And I know a lot of you have been liking the video. Thank you for doing that. And please continue to do so, because it does help the program a lot. And these threats against the Trump children, there's been a rule of thumb in this country over the decades that the first children are off limits. And the Republicans abide by that. Liberals have harassed the Republican children forever. I remember the Bush girls. They used to follow the Bush girls around when they were underage try to catch them ordering drinks illegally and stuff like this. Remember all that? Ronald Reagan's kids were harassed. You know, because the Democrats have always been out of control, inappropriate, angry, violent, right? But it's gotten to a whole new level now. You know, like this thing with J. Edgar Comey with the seashells on the beach, you know. And they put that same image on the grass near the reflecting pool in Washington. For whatever reason, Democrats feel 100% entitled to do the things that they're doing. And that's where you get into the violent aspect of it. What is it about this anger and violence from the left that Democrats believe is okay? Who in their right mind could think any of this was okay and acceptable? Now, this is the pre-show. We'll be live on the radio in 2 minutes. And you're very much welcome to call in, okay? The number's toll free. And you know, you're welcome to call in regardless of what your viewpoint is. You don't have to agree with me. You know, if you disagree with me, you're welcome to call in. And remember, and those of you that are new may not be aware of this, the calls are 100% screenless and unvetted. Nobody answers the phone. I just put you on hold. And when you hear me say, what's your name? Where are you calling from? That's the first time anyone's heard who's on the line. So we take calls live. The number's toll free and pinned in the live chat. And the calls are 100% screenless and unvetted. And all opinions are welcome. Now, no profanity is allowed because we're going to be on the radio in just over a minute. But I want to hear some thoughts on this left-wing violence that is just endless all over this country against the president and the Trump family. I mean, we had this massive assassination attempt at the UFC fight as an example, right? It was a major plot. There were more than a dozen assassins involved, and it was planned and organized by an illegal Mexican. Hardly a mention about it in the news. Even the Secret Service and FBI that are handling the investigation in Ohio, because that's where the illegal Mexican was living, they had a press conference, still next to nothing in the media. They were planning to take out everybody at the UFC fight, at the White House and across the street, the regular people that just showed up as tourists. All right, we're 15 seconds away from the show beginning, so I'm going to open up the show. And if you're on hold, hang in there. And again, if you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free and pinned in the live chat. All right, stand by. Here we go. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. All right, we got a big story today that's not in the news, but I'm going to share it with you. A man was arrested in New York yesterday for threatening to kill Don Jr. And, you know, when I'm doing my show prep in the morning, and there comes a point when I'm doing my show prep that I have to decide what my lead story is going to be. I'm going to go through all the details of this in a few minutes, guys. So, yeah. A man was arrested. He is in jail right now for threatening the life of Don Jr., and this is not in the news. I have the statement from the Justice Department and a couple of local news stories in New York from the Rochester area. It's not in the national news, at least not yet. They don't want you to know about this left-wing violence issue we have, this problem we have in this country. But in the mornings when I'm doing my show prep and I go through the news, there comes a point, and it's usually pretty obvious as soon as I see the story, what my lead story is going to be. And when I saw that there was this man was arrested for threatening the life of Don Jr., this is the second threat and plot against one of the first children. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, a man was arrested in Turkey. He was planning to blow up Ivanka's house in Miami. Remember? So we've had threats again, and he was arrested as well, thanks to the Turks. Had an assassination attempt on the president in Turkey from the Iranians last week. The UFC fight plot, the illegal Mexican plotting a massive strike at the White House, the press club. I mean, it goes on. And when I first saw this story about this man arrested for threatening the life of Don Jr. yesterday, I knew this was going to be my lead story. And, you know, for my YouTube channel, I have to put together a YouTube thumbnail, come with the title is, and all that stuff. And when I'm doing this, I realized something that and this is so crazy, that in some ways, I feel like there's been a format change to the program. And, you know, this is a program where we cover, discuss, and analyze the political news of the day. We've been doing this. Well, Steve's been doing it for 49 years. I've been doing it for like 36 years this year, 35 years, you know. And, you know, we cover the political news of the day. We cover the stories. We analyze them. We give you our opinions. We take your calls so you can share your thoughts on the political news of the day. And because of this epidemic of Democrat, liberal, left-wing, never-Trumper political violence in this country, I feel like we're becoming a true crime program. Really. Because every few days, some Democrat is out there threatening or attempting an act of violence against the president or a member of the family. So I'm going to go through this guy. He was arrested in Rochester, New York. This guy, as crazy and psychotic as he is a pretty typical Democrat in this day and age. And what he did is crazy. Thankfully, they arrested the bum. And I bet you that I'm the first person for most of you that you've heard talk about this, because there's a media blackout on this story. This is the press release. Do I have time? Yeah, I got time. This is the press release from the United States Attorney's Office in the Western District of New York, because that's where the man was located, and that's who's handling it. Rochester man charged with threatening President Trump's son, Don Jr. The U.S. Attorney announced, this is yesterday, that James Eckert of Rochester, New York, was arrested and charged with threats to kill, kidnap, or inflict bodily harm upon a member of the immediate family of the president, Don Jr., which carries a maximum penalty of up to 5 years in prison. Now, for the life of me, I don't understand why the maximum penalty is only 5 years. This guy should never be free again. According to the criminal complaint, on June 18th, a member of the U.S. Secret Service on duty at the residence of President Donald Trump's son, Don Jr., so this is in Florida, was alerted that several threats were made against Don Jr. The threats were made in the group live chat of Don Jr.'s podcast, which is titled Triggered with Donald Trump Jr., which was the name of his best-selling book. And they have the threats here, and I'm not going to read them. They are hardcore, violent threats. I did post this on my X at Brian Craig Show, this press release, and the couple of news stories I could find on it. I mean, these are some hardcore threats, and he posted the threats with his name, with an account with his name. So he wasn't even hiding it. He shared his full name while he's making these threats. So Don Jr., he's doing his podcast. You know, like I do my show every day, and I'm live streaming on YouTube with a live chat. Don Jr.'s doing that. And this lunatic is making death threats, using his own name on top of it. While viewing Don Jr.'s podcast and making the threats live in Don Jr.'s live chat, James Eckert was also streaming himself online. And in his live stream, he was repeating both verbally and in post in his live chat similar threats against Don Jr. So he's doing his own live stream, threatening Don Jr. openly and verbally, typing them in his own live chat, and doing the same thing in Don Jr.'s chat in real time. And they got him. Secret Service was there. They tracked him down. They arrested him, and he's been charged. He's in jail right now, thankfully so. And he has a hearing coming up on the 20th of this month that'll determine if he's going to be released or not. So you look at everything that's happened since Trump came down the escalator, all these acts of violence. And if you limit it just to, Butler was, the second anniversary of the Never Trumper assassination attempt against President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, that was yesterday, right? So if you just started Butler, how many acts of violence and assassination attempts and threats have been made against the president and his family? At least a dozen. But it's more. I mean, if you include this and the threat against Ivanka a couple weeks ago, I mean, it's 20. It's close to 20 easily, right? The guy that drove down from North Carolina got on Mar-a-Lago property. The sniper's nest over by the airport in Palm Beach. Remember that? I mean, these things, it's endless. And when they happen, the Democrats, and we saw this with Don Jr. or with Lindsey Graham over the weekend, that they don't care. The Democrats, the left, believe that if you disagree with them, you shouldn't be alive. I mean, how many of them had been saying over the weekend that it's a better world without Lindsey Graham? Think about that craziness. So what's happened with the Democrats? Why are the Democrats so violent? Why are they so out of control? And how do they process that it's okay to be this way? And why has the media not reported this story that I'm sharing with you? We're going to take our first break of this Tuesday morning, and I very much want to hear your thoughts on this. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening, all right? 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. When we get back, we'll get to your calls right after this. All right, we're clear. Now, those of you on hold, stand by. I'll go to the phones after the break, so you're going to have to hold on through the break. But I do want to hear your thoughts on this. Now, you got to be respectful, no profanity, and don't get yourself in trouble. Try, those of you that are liberal, try to be a decent person and not talk inappropriately, if you can at all do that. If that's in any way possible for you to do, don't be inappropriate. Okay, now I do have some local stories on this threat. Let me see. Here's another one. And I should be reading this in the mainstream press, but I'm not. This is from WGRZ TV. WNY man accused of threatening to kill Don Jr. This is the local news, okay? A Rochester man, James Eckert, faces charges of threatening to kill Don Jr., according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of New York, he was arrested and charged with threatening to kill, kidnap, or inflict bodily harm upon a member of President Trump's immediate family. Secret Services, and that's it. That's all they got. One line. And it's even a local story for them. Let me do a Google search and see what I can find here. Let me do another Google search and see if there's been any stories that have dropped since I last searched. Okay, let's see here. Donald Trump Jr., man arrested, threats. Let me just Google that. Okay, what do we got here? Yahoo News, local news. TheWrap.com, Democrat and Chronicle, WXXI News. I don't see any CNN or Fox News or anything. Do you? Look at this. A Facebook post, Spectrum News. And these are all just copied and pasted of the original press release. These aren't even news stories. WGRZ, WVBB, all local little news stories. Look at this. An X post, the New York Daily Record, whatever that is. These are all local stories out of New York. Okay, let's see what's the lead story in the New York Post. A Cuban that was let out of prison after hijacking a plane. I mean, are you kidding me? Nothing in the New York Post, even though it's in all the local news. Look at that. Nothing in the New York Post about this. And you know that they know about the story. My goodness. My goodness. Okay, let me see. What time will we be back? Hold on. Okay, we've got 1 minute until we're back. We're still in radio break. So, and I do have a lot of other stories to bring up. Hold on, I got to pull up one thing here. Okay. Okay, here we go. We are going to be back in about 30 seconds or so. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. The number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll free. No matter where you're listening, you're welcome to call in. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. All right, we got 25 seconds. Stand by, guys. Stand by. Definitely. This is just a whole nother world we're in. 10 seconds. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. If you're on hold, hang in there. Before I forget, I want to mention this ICE shooting in Maine. All right? This is just insanely crazy to me. Last week, we had this Graham Plattner story out of Maine. Graham Plattner was forced to drop out of the race. He gave a bizarre narcissistic exit speech like he's somebody. And he ended his speech by saying F ICE. Can you believe that? He actually said F ICE, Graham Plattner. Can you believe that? I mean, what kind of class act, right? And the Democrats, they've not yet decided who they're going to bypass the primary voters for and give the nomination to run for Senate in Maine. But Susan Collins is performing good. She's doing very well in the Maine polls right now. And the Democrats are in all kinds of trouble in Maine. And that seat was within their grasp. And then boom, all of a sudden, just like it dropped out of the sky, there's an ICE-involved shooting in the state of Maine. Are you kidding me? Do you think, I do not believe in coincidences. We were talking about this yesterday with the Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell photos. I don't believe in coincidences. So the Democrats just got creamed in Maine, totally creamed with this Graham Plattner. This is what happens when you run a low-life Nazi, okay? This is what happens. And the Republicans are expected to win that seat. And before all these, before the rape allegation came out from a Democrat socialist woman against Graham Plattner, it was within reach. That race in Maine was a toss-up before the scandal began, even though everybody knew the Nazi story, which is frightening in itself. But Democrats, they hate Trump so much they don't care. But now Susan Collins is expected to hit a home run and win no matter who they plug in there in Maine. And then all of a sudden we get an ICE-involved shooting. Do you think it's just a coincidence that there was an ICE-involved shooting in Maine right after Graham Plattner dropped out and they're in trouble, desperate for an issue? Yes, the man was killed. It's a sad story. Nobody wants to see anyone killed, even someone who's undocumented and is facing deportation. Okay? Nobody wants to see that. I don't want to see it. Trump doesn't want to see it. Mark Wayne Mullen doesn't want to see it. ICE doesn't want to see it. And certainly the people that get shot don't want to see it. However, when law enforcement, whether they're local or federal agents, pull up behind you and put the lights on, you don't speed away. You don't try to crash into their car. You pull over. You roll your windows down, and you obey the commands they give you. When they get out of their cars, you don't try to run them over with your vehicle, which you've turned your vehicle from a mode of transportation into a deadly weapon. And that's what has resulted in this. And I'm here to tell you that this ICE shooting in Maine is not a coincidence. This was a crafted incident, just like in Minneapolis, where these lunatics got Renee Good and Preddy shot. And what the left have done is a number of things that are very bad. One, they've brainwashed illegal, undocumented people into believing that they're entitled to be in the country, that their rights are being violated by being deported. Another thing they've convinced them of is that ICE are not cops, that they're lawless and they're Nazis and that they have no right and they're racist and don't like brown people. Well, most of the ICE agents that I'm seeing in the field are Hispanic. You know, you have to speak Spanish to be an ICE agent. And a lot of people that are Hispanic go into that field. One of the reasons is they have the language requirement already down. But they've convinced the illegals that they have a right to be here. They have a legal right to be here. They have a moral right to be here. And that their civil rights are being violated, not by the police or law enforcement, but by a gang of Nazis. And what that does is escalate things. And, you know, the Democrats used to do this years ago with blacks. Long before Black Lives Matter, you had these race pimps like Jesse Jackson and others over the years who would run around, and young black men were convinced that every time they were stopped by the police, whether they were speeding or a rolling stop or whatever, that it was racial profiling. Even if the cop was black, it was racial profiling. And the cop was a racist, and you did nothing wrong. And what this does, it escalates the confrontations, and people resist, and then they feel entitled to resist. And then when they resist and they fight and they try to harm the officers or run them over, whether they're ICE or local cops, they get shot. And you look at what's going on in Maine. Do you believe that it is just a coincidence that there was an ICE-involved shooting with an undocumented Colombian in Maine yesterday? Do you think that's just a coincidence? No way. Did you see these leftist lunatics that showed up at Susan Collins' office yesterday? What were they doing there with all those signs? How'd that happen? How did they organize that so quickly? Just to show up like that at her office with a chant that they all seem to know the words to. Now, I'm sorry to tell you that this is fake stuff that we're seeing here. It's all planned and orchestrated by these evil never-Trumper leftists, whether it's the communist or your regular neighborhood Democrats. But they're creating these incidents that are getting people shot and killed for political gain, and they think it's worth it. I mean, look, you go back and look at that video of Renee Good and her girlfriend, her wife. That's a sad video. Renee Good and her wife, they didn't think they were doing anything wrong. They thought that they were out there doing good. You can see it in their faces. Why? Because they've been brainwashed by the Democrats and the fake news media. And they've been brainwashed to think all kinds of things that are just not true. Same goes for Preddy. Preddy had a pistol on him. Who shows up to a political event with a pistol and gets into a fight with federal agents from ICE? Lunatic, brainwashed, useful idiots that the never-Trumpers and the liberals send out there to stir up trouble, to try to get narratives going. You know, the left are all about creating events to get news stories and events going. Look at Ro Khanna in Israel. This idiot flew to the West Bank, starts walking into a military control, tries to get past a military post without letting anybody know he's over there. The army stops him and he's trying to play the race card. He was trying to create an incident. And it backfired on Ro Khanna. He looked like what he is, a complete idiot. Now, I want to talk about Lighthouse Medical. Those of you suffering from neuropathy, Lighthouse Medical is amazing. Lighthouse Medical have a treatment for neuropathy that works and it lasts. I've seen it work not just on Steve Kane, but many people in this audience. And what I've come to learn since my visit to Lighthouse Medical recently is that people at all stages of neuropathy are not only seeking treatment at Lighthouse Medical, but being rid of their neuropathy symptoms. No matter what stage of neuropathy you or your loved one are in, call Lighthouse Medical and schedule your no-charge consultation. Now, you got to mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. They only offer the no-charge consultation to our listeners. It works. I've seen it work. They are giving people their lives back. The pain, the suffering, being homebound. Get your life back. End all of that. Get out. Be able to go out to eat. Be able to go to the mall. Be able to go shopping. Be able to go on vacation. Call Lighthouse Medical right now. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. All right, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. Come back with more right after this. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Life can leave us with a lot of questions. Why did this happen to me? Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? And where is God in all of it? If you've ever asked those questions, you need to tune into the Healing Philosophers Podcast with The Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Through honest conversations and real-life experiences, each episode explores topics like healing from past hurts, generational karma, letting go of what's holding you back, understanding narcissism, and discovering how God can use even life's hardest moments for a greater purpose. The Healing Philosophers Podcast is about finding hope, growing in your faith, and realizing that your story and every season of your life has meaning. Add the Healing Philosophers Podcast to your Spotify playlist, and make sure to share the podcast on all your social media and invite your friends and family to listen in too. Your share could be exactly what someone else needs right now. The Healing Philosophers Podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Healing starts with one conversation. Listen now on Spotify. Are you retired and wondering what comes next? Your experience still has value. Your passions, hobbies, knowledge, and skills could become the foundation of a profitable online business. At retirementprogram.org, you'll discover a practical internet marketing strategy designed to help everyday people just like you create additional income from what they already know. With retirementprogram.org, you'll learn how to build your very first website, even with no programming experience. Discover the basics of getting your website found on Google. Learn to attract targeted visitors and turn that traffic into revenue. This free step-by-step guide explains how to choose a topic, create useful content, improve your search rankings, and explore proven ways to make money online. Retirementprogram.org isn't about getting rich overnight. It's about investing a little time each week to build something that can grow over time and provide an additional source of income during your retirement. Your dream career may not be behind you. It could be just beginning. Visit retirementprogram.org today and get your free guide, and share the link on all your social media so your retired friends can join in too. That's retirementprogram.org.
All right, we'll be back shortly. We're still in radio break. Let's see. We'll be back in just over a minute. I know. This is really a scary time when you look at the liberals. I mean, this. I was just looking during the break. I haven't seen a single mainstream story about this threat against Don Jr. The reason that it's important to cover these stories, like the threat to Don Jr. as an example, is so that you can stop the future threats. Because of Comey and others around the country. It started with Kathy Griffin in President Trump's first term. These people are allowed to get away with things that are illegal. People lose not only do they lose the fear of doing these things, but they feel that it's okay, right? All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Oh my goodness. It really is. It's the left, and they're getting worse. The more successful we are, the worse they're going to get. All right, hang in there. All right, welcome back. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig, and this, of course, is Florida's longest-running radio show. Yeah, I just did a search during the break. I have not seen a single mainstream news outlet cover the arrest of this guy who was by the Secret Service and FBI who was threatening the life of Don Jr. Not one. We've moved into an area where of the left, and it didn't just happen yesterday. It's been going on for a while. That there's no getting along with these people. J.D. Vance, who's in line to be the second MAGA president, right? When J.D. Vance hosted the first Charlie Kirk show after the Never Trumpers assassinated Charlie Kirk. He did that show from the White House, and it was incredible. And if you've not seen it, you really should go and take a look at it. And what Charlie Kirk's first show with J.D. Vance, there was a lot about it that was very, very historic and memorable. But I remember J.D. Vance said, there's no middle ground with the left anymore. There's no place to come to agreement with. If you don't agree with them, they want you dead, right? And with the death of Lindsey Graham is still talking about him like it's hard to believe Lindsey Graham's gone, isn't it? It really hasn't sunk in yet. But Lindsey Graham was a guy that everybody liked. And it's not that he played both sides of the aisle. He was a conservative, but he was likable, and he could get people together and that disagreed and get things done. President Trump was talking about that yesterday. If he had a problem with a Democrat, sometimes he'd call Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham would get things taken care of. Out of all of the Republicans on the scene today, the senior Republicans that you see on TV all the time and everything, Lindsey Graham is to the left, is like the least offensive to the left out of all of them, right? Because everybody likes him. He gets along. He's a middle-of-the-road guy. He was a middle-of-the-road guy when it came to personalities, right? And when he dies, they're talking about how much better the country is without him, that he did so much damage to the country. And my thinking is, well, wait a minute. If Lindsey Graham, who is the least offensive of Republicans out there, if they're happy he's dead and they're talking about how he got what he deserved and the country is so much better without him, what are they thinking about the rest of us? Right? I mean, if you're celebrating Lindsey Graham, you can't be redeemed. Your mind is so far into the gutter of left-wing hate and violence that you can't be recovered. You ever see the movie American History X? It's one of the greatest movies ever made. And there's this scene in the movie with Elliot Gould, Beverly D'Angelo from The Vacation. They're in it, and it's a dinner scene. And Ed Norton starts going on all his racist skinhead stuff. They get into a fight, and Elliot Gould leaves, and he's in the front yard with the mother, and he said he's gone. He's lost. You can't. He's hopeless. Nothing you can do. He's lost. He's gone. That's how the Democrats are. And it used to be that you could have discussions with the Democrats. That doesn't mean that they were right. It doesn't mean that liberals were ever right. But you could have a meeting of the minds on some things to get things done. But now, if you disagree with them on one thing and one thing only, they want you dead. And, you know, this has happened for a number of reasons. One of it is, you know, not only are they out of power, they don't see any future where they can return to power. That's one reason. It's a big one, right? And they're spoiled babies over that. But most of the reasonable people in the Democrat Party have been red-pilled and left. You know, and I saw this clip on X this morning from the Five. I don't know if it was Jesse Waters or Greg Gutfeld, one of them. I think it was Gutfeld, but I could be wrong. And they said, you know, it says a lot about the Democrats that the most reasonable person in the Democrat Party is James Carville. James Carville's a crazy man. And when you have a guy who's as crazy as James Carville sounding reasonable, that shows you how far they've gone. You know, Rashida Tlaib, before she was in Congress, she was removed from a Trump rally. And it happened on television. And I remember when it happened live. You can find this online. You don't see it too often anymore. But this is Tlaib. And when she I can't remember exactly what she said or did, but she was at a Trump rally. And when they removed her, you got to see her kind of like in the lobby of the arena. And it might have been on Right Side Broadcasting. But I remember seeing it live. She was having a meltdown. She was nuts, not rational, completely insane. You know, Don Jr.'s book, Triggered, right? Like the name of his show, Triggered. It's perfectly named, perfectly titled. They are triggered. They're irredeemable. There's no meeting of the minds. And they don't have any grown-ups in a leadership position to get control of their movement. Right? And when we win the midterms, if you think they're freaking out now, wait until we win the midterms. Now, it looks like we're going to get the Save America Act through finally. You know? And this is being done probably because of the death of Lindsey Graham. It's going to happen much easier than we had anticipated. They're going to do what Lindsey Graham's plan was. They're going to put it as part of a budget measure. And, you know, all these technical rules that they have in the Senate, it avoids the filibuster and all of that, and they do it through that reconciliation. You know, these things are so stupid. Just vote and pass it. We got the majority, but they're doing it. We're going to have it. The Save America Act, when that passes and we win the midterms, the Democrats are done. Because what we have found in the last few years is not having the Save America Act is the only reason that they've been winning elections. And you know what I mean by all this, right? And it's going to get really hairy because the Democrats look at Stefanik, or was it not Stefanik? The CIA senator. I'm going to play a clip of her later. The CIA senator. What's her name? Stefanik's. I can't remember her name, but you know what I'm talking about. Slotkin. The one from the video, right? The CIA senator, Slotkin. She was talking to a group yesterday that the Save America Act, that it'll be difficult for any Democrat anywhere to win an election. Really, why? If you know, you have to prove U.S. citizenship to register to vote and show government ID at the polling location to vote. Why does it make it difficult for Democrats to win when only Americans can vote? That tells you everything you need to know. So if you think the Democrats are unhinged now because they don't see a path to regaining power anywhere, wait until the Save America Act is passed we win the midterms, and then they're like, what? We're done. Wait until you see how they act then. And that's why it's important to enforce these things. You know, this threat against Don Jr. by a crazy man, right? This death threat. The reason that these acts of violence and these threats are increasing is because Comey and others have been getting away with it over the years, and it's been getting worse and worse and worse. You know, what Kathy Griffin did with that bloody head in Trump's first term, if someone did that of any Democrat president, they would have gone to prison. And I would have supported them going to prison for that. These are crazy things. But this thing with Comey that he got away with the seashells, look what happened. They wrote that in the grass next to the reflecting pool with some type of acid. This is how they roll. They don't care. Now, I'll tell you what I care about. That's getting a great night's sleep, and I do every night thanks to Mike Lindell at MyPillow. Right now, the mega sale is going on, the second annual mega sale. These are huge discounts. And with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, there's huge discounts site-wide on some of the most popular MyPillow products. And I've been talking a lot about the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets lately because the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets are made of 100% Giza cotton. Mike Lindell says there's a lot of people advertising Giza sheets. They're only 10% Giza cotton. His are 100% Giza cotton, which is the finest cotton in the world. And what that Giza cotton does, it's a temperature regulating fabric. It regulates your body temperature. And in these hot summer months where temperatures are in the 90s, heat index over 100 degrees, I get into my bed at night with my 100% Giza Dream Sheets from MyPillow, which are you can get for under $30 with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com. It's like I've got air conditioning in the bed. I am cool all night long. And in the winter months, I'm warm. But there's many other great products there that are on sale during the mega sale that you can get huge discounts on with our promo code KANE. And the other thing about these Giza Dream Sheets, the fitted sheet at the bottom fits perfectly. You know, with every other sheet I've ever owned, getting that fitted sheet on the bottom is impossible. You get one corner on perfectly. The second corner, if you're lucky, you know, you got to do alternating corners. You may get it halfway on that corner. The third corner, you get about a quarter of it on. In the fourth corner, you're just lucky to get it over the lip, and you've got to use all your strength to do it. With the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets from MyPillow, all four corners go on with just 2 fingers and a thumb without effort. Boom, 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 boom. Even after having these sheets for years and years, being washed, I don't know how many times, they're like the day we got them. So go to MyPillow.com, order yours right now. Huge discount, under $30 for the Giza Dream Sheets with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com. You can also order by phone, 800-716-4879. 800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our last break of the first hour and be right back. All right, callers on hold, stand by, okay? We'll be back. I'll take some calls right after this.
Have you ever caught yourself wondering, is this really what life is supposed to be? Work is important. Building a career, providing for your family, and achieving success all matter. But somewhere along the way, many of us become so focused on work that we forget to enjoy the life we're working so hard to build. In the book, I Don't Want to Die Behind My Desk, Stepping Off the Pillar Before You Forget How to Live, available on Amazon, author and knowledge warrior Samuel Colin shares the lessons he's learned from nearly 40 years in emergency services, executive leadership, industrial operations, and his own battle with cancer. This must-read and life-changing book isn't about quitting your job or giving up on success. It's about finding balance again, making time for your family, your faith, your health, and the people and moments that matter most. Whether you're a business owner, executive, first responder, manager, or anyone who's feeling buried under meetings, deadlines, and responsibilities, this book is a reminder that your career should Support your life, not become your life. I Don't Want to Die Behind My Desk from author Samuel Colin is available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and free with Kindle Unlimited. Before another year slips by, take a minute and look up I Don't Want to Die Behind My Desk by Samuel Colin on Amazon. Order your copy right now.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, $19.98. Queens, only $18.98. And Giza Dream Bed Sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you, what a concept, now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
All right, we got about little over a minute, and we'll be back. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll take your calls when we get back. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. It's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. You're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. And I don't see anything about this Don Jr. arrest anywhere. It's really upsetting to me because, when there's arrest like this, it needs to be in the media to let other people know, don't do this or you'll go to jail too. Right? And boom, they just forget about all this stuff. They just don't want it to be known. We'll be back in about 45 seconds, so stand by. Oh boy, I know. The Democrats are out of control, friends. They're out of control. Let's see. 40, there we go. Okay, 30 seconds and we'll be back. Oh boy, and I got some audio I'm going to go through as well. I got a lot to cover today. A lot. I'll be so happy when we get the Save America Act passed. What do you guys think the president's going to talk about Thursday? I know they're saying it's not Iran and it's going to be about the election. That's possible, but I don't know. That didn't come from President Trump. What do you guys think he's going to talk? If it's that'd be awesome. But what do you think he's going to be talking about? The primetime address, 9 p.m. Eastern, Thursday. All right, stand by. We're back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Doc from Texas.
Hey, Doc. What's up?
Hey, man. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay. I'm good. Hey, I just want to call and tell you, say this to you. I know you're not going to agree with me, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think every man, woman that works for ICE are cowards.
Cowards?
Are cowards.
Does that go for all police and federal agents or just ICE?
ICE.
Why?
Police officers are because yesterday they killed another man. Mm-hmm. Nobody cameras knew nothing. Mm-hmm. The wrong man. They cowards. They weak. They scared. They cowards.
Well, wait a minute. What's been reported, including by witnesses at the scene, is that he tried to run over the ICE agents. So what are they supposed to do? Run over?
No, he didn't. They're cowards, Brian. They're cowards.
I'm gonna play. Hold on, Doc. When I'm done talking with you, I'm gonna play. I was waiting for somebody to call about this to play this. There's an eyewitness who gave an interview at the scene right after that. I'm gonna play after your call. But when federal agents pull up behind you and put their lights on to pull over, what are you supposed to do?
Brian, they are cowards.
No. What are you supposed to do?
They did not have to stop that man because that man was not wanted for nothing. They were cowards.
That's a double negative, which means he was wanted for everything.
No, he was not.
Listen,
not, Brian.
when you were stopped, even if it's on a minor traffic violation, right, and you didn't do it, you're still required to stop, comply, and follow the orders of law enforcement.
You're not getting what I'm telling you. Where's the body camera footage? Show me the body camera's footage.
Oh, like that would
They
change
shot
your
that man
opinion?
for no-
You know, I mean, you know, with
I
when you
was-
the Renee Good as an example, we saw multiple. We must have seen 20 different videos from bystanders.
Another
We saw
person-
exactly.
another
We
person
saw
of power
exactly.
killed.
We saw exactly what happened, and you guys just blacked
Power.
that out.
Cowards.
So you would.
They are
So what would
cowards
you
and-
do if somebody tried to run you over with a car? What would you do? Since you're so
First
brave.
of all, I'm not getting in front of a car. Somebody gonna run me over. Hopefully, my training is better than that because I'm not getting in front of a car.
But cars
Are you
move.
crazy?
Cars move, and they move faster than people.
I'm not getting in position. I'm not getting in a position where you can hit me. Come on, training is better than that. Training is better than
Well,
that.
I'm going to
You stupid
play
if you stand in
a
front of-
training's better than it. Okay, I'm going to play a witness who was there, and he'll tell you what happened. All right. So
Again,
they're
another thing too.
yeah.
One more thing. One more thing. This situation with Iran, it just got out of hand, Brian. Trump doesn't know what he's doing.
What do you mean it
bro.
got out of hand?
He lists.
What's out of hand
Brian,
about it? What's out of hand?
Because we back into that. We back into the strait again. We didn't close it down. We
No,
charging
we
it
didn't
with-
close it down. We've taken over the strait, and it's
Why international water? We have no business taking over that.
because the Strait of Hormuz is a stopgap for what is really air and water to the world, oil. And you have to keep the flow of oil going to keep the world going. And if it's not,
Well,
if
why
it's
don't
not
they
safe,
let them do it.
let who do it? The
It's
Iranians?
not. Only reason it's not safe. Oh, it's not safe because there's some ships are not doing what they're supposed to do.
Okay, all right. That was the first dump of the day, Mike. First dump of the day, and I don't think that may be our first dump with Doc. You know what Doc just did? You know what he just did? He did something to make me in the conversation. You know, there's with callers, with liberal callers. The rest of you on hold, hang in there. I'm going to play the witness in a second. With liberal callers to the program, and those of you that are longtime listeners, we've always had a lot of liberal chronic callers that become, characters on the show like Doc, And what happens to many of them, you don't hear from them anymore, right? And it's not because we've banned them, and just say, well, we can't handle your opinions. They do things sometimes to get themselves banned. Doc's not banned, but I think that was the first time we had to dump him on a call. If we had to dump him another time, I don't remember. And what a lot of callers do, it's like a lifeline. Remember on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you had those lifelines, phone a friend, ask the audience and all that, the 50-50. What a lot of these liberals do, these liberal callers, for a lifeline or an SOS, is they do something to force us to hang up on them, like Doc just did. It's really sad. But I was waiting for somebody to bring this up before I brought it up. This is a guy who witnessed the main involved ICE shooting, okay? And he was there, and this is what he witnessed, and he gave an interview right after.
I would say 7:50.
Oh, hold on. Let me cue it up. I don't have it all queued up. Hold on. And now, okay, here it is. And he's eyewitness account.
I would say 7:15. I was driving through the intersection at Hill Street and Pool Street, and as I was approaching, you could see flashing blue lights. And then as I got closer, they were unmarked, so I assumed they were ICE, and then you could see them with their green vests and stuff, and it said police, ICE. And so as I actually was going through the intersection, I heard yelling. So I know I'm supposed to be paying attention, but I heard yelling off to my... So I looked, and I was watching, and the ICE agent was yelling and drew his weapon, and he kept yelling and warning the person driving, which is when the car was put into drive and was trying to hit the ICE officer, and he fired, I would say, probably 4 shots at him. And then by that time, I was also through, the intersection, so I just heard the popping, but I did see him draw his gun at the windshield. And then the car, you could see the car in the back, like rolling down the street afterwards.
Okay, there you have it. Boom. So this is an eyewitness, and he said that the guy in the car refused their orders. He turned the car around and tried to run over the ICE agent, and that's when he fired. So I don't know what you're supposed to do. Are ICE agents supposed to allow themselves to get run over? And, this running over tactic is so often used, it's almost like they're teaching them to do this, isn't it? And this was a witness on the scene who was interviewed shortly after. And that's an accurate, because no politics got involved yet, nothing. That's an accurate account of what happened. Now, you're not going to see him on the news either. He'll be on the news right after the Don Jr. arrest story is in the news. Now, if Don Jr. got arrested, that'd be all over the news. But the guy threatening the life of Don Jr. is not in the news. And they don't want this guy in the news either, because it doesn't fit their narrative. And what the left will do with this guy is they'll do a couple of things. They'll tune it out. That's one of their favorite tactics. They'll tune it out. Or they'll say that he's white. So, of course, white people, I guess, can't be trusted. They'll come up with everything to discount him. But I think this is probably going to be, short of video footage, the most accurate account that we're going to see of what happened there. Now, I want to talk about Jamie Levac over at Swift Tax. Listen, if you have missed the tax filing deadline this year, don't worry. Jamie Levac can help you. He can help you with your taxes no matter where you're located in America. And if you're local here in South Florida, you're very much welcome when you call to set up a meeting in person. But if you missed the tax deadline this year, don't worry. Jamie Levac will help you with that. If you missed the tax deadline for past years, and there are past years you have not filed, call Jamie Levac. He's got a direct line to the IRS. He'll handle everything for you. If you owe money in back taxes, no matter how much it is, give Jamie Levac a call. He'll help you with that too. There's a lot of companies that you hear advertising. If you're in debt to the IRS, they'll help you out and all of this. They charge a fortune. When Jamie Levac told me how much those companies charge, my first thought was, well, wait a minute. If someone's in debt with their taxes, the IRS, how do they have money to pay that kind of money to pay these guys? And they don't, right? So Jamie Levac does what those guys do, and he does it at just a tiny fraction of the price that they charge. So if you've missed your filing deadline, if you've not filed for years and years and years, call Jamie Levac. If you owe back taxes, even if you've already made arrangements with the IRS, even if you haven't, call Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. He'll help you with that too. And those of you that are business owners, he can handle your bookkeeping and your business taxes and your payroll taxes, even if you're an individual gig worker, or you have a large business. He can help you with all of that. Give Jamie Levac a call or a text. This is his number. And remember, he can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. And those of you here in South Florida can meet with him in person. 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587. That's 954-773-1587 for Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll take our break for the top, come back with more of your calls. Those of you who want to hold standby, the delay is re-engaged from Doc. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break. All right, guys. Now, if you're on hold, don't go anywhere. Hang in there. And I'll take calls after the break. All right. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 2631. 26
Life can leave us with a lot of questions. Why did this happen to me? Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? And where is God in all of it? If you've ever asked those questions, you need to tune into the Healing Philosophers Podcast with The Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Through honest conversations and real-life experiences, each episode explores topics like healing from past hurts, generational karma, letting go of what's holding you back, understanding narcissism, and discovering how God can use even life's hardest moments for a greater purpose. The Healing Philosophers Podcast is about finding hope, growing in your faith, and realizing that your story and every season of your life has meaning. Add the Healing Philosophers Podcast to your Spotify playlist, and make sure to share the podcast on all your social media and invite your friends and family to listen in too. Your share could be exactly what someone else needs right now. The Healing Philosophers Podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Healing starts with one conversation. Listen now on Spotify. What if the greatest threat to a kingdom wasn't an invading army, but the loss of memory itself? From author Fakhri Bey comes the new epic fantasy, The Vayrith Cycle, the crown that forgot its king, available on Amazon. In a kingdom where every crown holds power and every name shapes reality, a royal tax collector arrives in a quiet village where everyone knows they have a king, but no one can remember his name. As memories disappear, ancient forces awaken, and a mysterious creature begins consuming not people, but crowns themselves. One disgraced nobleman must uncover a secret buried for centuries before the very idea of kingship vanishes forever. If you enjoy rich world building, political intrigue, dark mythology, morally complex heroes, and sweeping fantasy adventures, The Vayrith Cycle is your next must-read book. Order your copy right now on Amazon, in Kindle, paperback, and free with Kindle Unlimited. The Vayrith Cycle, the crown that forgot its king, from author Fakhri Bey on Amazon.
All right, we're still in radio break, so if you're on hold, stand by. So this ICE shooting in Maine, which I just don't believe is coincidental. This guy, he was evading a removal order, okay? And this is the eyewitness that saw the whole incident.
I would say 7:15. I was driving through the intersection at Hill Street and Pool Street, and as I was approaching, you could see flashing blue lights. And then as I got closer, they were unmarked, so I assumed they were ICE. And then you could see them with their green vests and stuff, and it said police, ICE. And so as I actually was going through the intersection, I heard yelling. So I know I'm supposed to be paying attention, but I heard yelling off to my... So I looked, and I was watching, and the ICE agent was yelling and drew his weapon, and he kept yelling and yelling and warning the person driving, which is when the car was put into drive and was trying to hit the ICE officer. And he fired, I would say, probably 4 shots at him. And then by that time, I was also through, the intersection, so I just heard the popping, but I did see him draw his gun at the windshield. And then the car, you could see the car in the back, like rolling down the street afterwards.
Okay, we have 30 seconds. We'll be back. That's an eyewitness to the Maine ICE shooting. Come on, guys. Give me a break. All right, 25 seconds. We'll be back. If you're on hold, stand by. Okay. Yep, 888-465-2631 is the toll-free number, 888-465-2631. And the number is pinned in the live chat. All right, hang in there, 5 seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, there you go. That was his opinion. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie. Good morning.
Hey, Richie.
Good morning. I want to talk about your topic, what you started off with the violence that the Democratic Party has a
well for those
problem,
for people that are just tuning in. Let me recap. A man was arrested in Rochester, New York, yesterday for making death threats against Don Jr. He was in Don Jr.'s live chat during his podcast, making the most graphic death threats you can imagine. and he was doing his own live stream at the same time making death threats. And I was talking about, first off, this story is nowhere in the news, and this is the second first child to have their life threatened in the last couple of weeks. There was a man arrested a couple weeks ago. He was going to blow up Ivanka Trump's house in Miami. So we're talking. I was talking about these stories that aren't in the news. There's an epidemic of left-wing political violence in America going on.
Absolutely, and that's what it all comes down into the ICE situation too, with the potential, with the riots again. And I'm going to tell you what I see. I see a Democratic Party that is 100% just divide, no matter what it is. In other words, you said they have no platform, they have no agenda. You had Biden get up there and say, they're going to put you all back in chains.
Yes.
So he was trying to scare the heck out of a whole race of people in this country. Mm-hmm. You had him stand at Philadelphia in front of Freedom Hall there, looking like the devil, saying that all white people and all MAGA people are out to take away your democracy.
Correct.
You got them at the Pulse nightclub saying the guy was against all gay and people, and they had nothing to do with that. The ICE situation, they hope things like that happen because they've told everyone that ICE is Hitler, and they're trying to break up families and throw immigrants out of the country. They have the Indians. They took your land. They stole you were on stolen land. These people better wake up. All they're trying to do is to say this one's bad. I remember as a kid in New York City, they had stick characters on cartoons.
Yeah.
They were almost silent cartoons. I think they were silent. They always showed the bad banker taking the little old lady's house away, and the banks are bad. They have demonized the opponents.
Let's get to focus in more on what's going on. You're right. Okay, in Maine. A couple things about what happened in Maine. Number one, you think it's just a coincidence that there was an ICE-involved shooting in Maine with massive protest the day that Graham Plattner finally dropped out? This was an orchestrated event by the left, by the Democrats, Socialists, Communists. They were at Susan Collins' office within 3 minutes. This guy that was sadly killed was a Colombian illegal who was evading a removal order. And if he was captured and deported by ICE, he would be forbidden from applying to re-enter for 20 years. So remember, that's the way it works. And we've got an eyewitness who said he tried to run over the ICE. And this poor guy, this interview could be his undoing, because you don't think that they're going to, I would not want to be him today. These leftists, they want to shut this guy down. He needs, but this was a left-wing created incident in the aftermath of Graham Plattner to try to get momentum in Maine on their side against Susan Collins.
Yeah, what happened in Minnesota too. I mean, not for nothing. The guy that they shot when he was wrestling, that took the gun to that protest. I saw it on Fox, but I didn't see it anywhere else. Where the guy week before, the guy was with kicking the cars and whacking. The guy was unhinged and out of control. I mean, and that guy has a gun? No. I'm going to tell you, he was like crazy. So my point being, you're 150% right. I don't think it affects the Democratic Party. I think this is what they want. They want chaos as long as President
I'm
Trump's
telling
in the
you,
White House.
what they're doing is they're training these people to try to run over them.
Right.
It's happening too much. They're training them to run over the ICE agents. It's happening way too much.
Well, don't you? When they're coming out of the facility, when they were up in New Jersey, they were literally standing in front of the automobiles. In New York City, trying to block cars that are moving in the front of the car. And so if the agent steps on the accelerator and runs over one, boy, forget about it. Then they're out there the next day rioting and screaming. Yeah. And this is anti-American. You said they have no platform. They don't. You know what their platform is? Trump's got to go, MAGA's got to go, and that's their platform.
Well, yesterday, Hakeem Jeffries was asked about this at a press conference yesterday, if they have like a platform or an agenda. He said, well, maybe later this summer they might have something. But this incident in Maine, which is all over the news, it started going viral yesterday. This is a manufactured incident. These democratic socialist communists somehow set this. They probably gave a tip to ICE about the guy's whereabouts to create the incident. When I saw the people when I saw there was a shooting in Maine, I'm like, are you kidding me? Out of all the states, Maine.
Hakeem Jeffries, you brought him up. I'm getting so tired of that guy. He talks like a robot, and he with blank stare into the camera, saying this President Trump's war with Iran was a war of choice.
Yeah,
it was. What choice did we have? An atomic bomb with the crazy people with an atomic bomb, or take them out? That's
Richie, the reality is, all wars are wars of choice. Did we have to go to war with Japan after they bombed Pearl Harbor? Did we have to go into Afghanistan? There's other things you could, after 9/11. They're all a war of choice when you're being attacked. You don't have to declare. We were attacked. The USS Cole was attacked, and Bill Clinton did nothing. The towers in Africa were attacked. Bill Clinton did nothing. SEAL Team 6 was killed. Obama did nothing. All these, it is a choice, but it doesn't mean it's bad.
No, but Hakeem Jeffries, if he would have opened his mouth, say, in World War II, after Pearl Harbor was attacked, can you imagine if when the President Roosevelt declared war, if you got a Hakeem Jeffries saying, this is illegal, unjust war,
exactly.
It's a war of choice?
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy crap here.
All right, Rich, I got to move on, but I agree with everything you said today. We don't always agree, but I agree today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Michael from, where am I? Coral Springs.
All right, Michael, what's up?
Listen, a couple of things. I know you purposely put on that buffoon Doc just to annoy us.
No, I took the calls randomly. I didn't know it was him till I heard him say it's Doc.
Well, you continue letting him come on, but it's interesting though. Anyway, the reason I called, I made up two T-shirts just out of annoyance. One of them is black with white lettering. It says "Straight Pride" that I wear every Gay Pride Month.
Okay.
The other one, which I just wore which I wear as often as possible, it says "Destroy America, Vote Democrat." And I can't tell you.
I like that.
I just wore that on. Yeah, I just wore that on Sunday. I can't tell you, just to uplift people, your listening audience, in case they're getting annoyed and everything.
I like the second one. I like the second one's really good. I would stick with the second one.
Well, the first one's appropriate at the right time. Why? I can't be proud to be straight.
I mean, you can. It seems a little strange.
Okay, so
I think the other one's more effective.
Well, it is, but they're two different situations.
Yeah,
I wear the straight pride one to Starbucks and Barnes and Noble.
Really?
Mostly.
And you let the gay guy that works at Starbucks make a drink you're going to consume inside your body with that shirt on? Are you out of your mind? I wouldn't do that if I were you. When I go to Starbucks, I leave my MAGA hat in the car. Okay. I don't like drink. I don't like to drink whatever they're going to give me. Possibly.
Well, to be fair, I let my wife go in and get the stuff. I sit outside.
Let your wife handle it. Yes.
Yeah, but as far as the Democrat shirt, I want to tell you, I can't tell you how many thumbs up and love the T-shirt I got from people. Just walking around.
You're in Coral Springs. You said you wear it in the Barnes and Noble. I made a YouTube video about the Barnes and Noble in Coral Springs. It's on my YouTube channel. This Barnes that Barnes and Noble, they hate Donald Trump, and I went in there to buy a book, and it was filled with Trump-hating books. It was and I took out my camera, made a whole YouTube video about it. It's on my YouTube channel. This bookstore hates Donald Trump. You got to watch it. I mean that Coral Springs Barnes and Noble, which is lucky to even be in business, because there's so few bookstores these days. And they used to have this big superstore, Barnes & Noble. Now it's the size of a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we don't go to it anymore.
And it's filled with liberal books about hating Republicans. I couldn't believe what I saw. It was really bad.
Well, I don't know how bad I don't know how bad it could be, because I remember when they sliced it up into that little closet of a store they have now. I went to the manager and complained that they didn't have any gun magazines, and they brought them in. You know, so
I bet if you if you would have asked them for the LGBTQ magazines, they would have just walked you over to them because they were probably already there.
Probably, but we never go to that one anymore because they just destroyed it. We go to the one by the Broward Mall, much more comfortable.
Well, you know what it is. You know, Barnes and Noble, they've changed their business model. They're being run by a guy who ran bookstores in England, and they let the bookshop managers decide what books they carry now. So if you go into there and there's a bunch of Trump-hating books like they have there, you got some social justice warrior manager is what it is. Hey, listen, I got to run, Mike, but I appreciate the call. All right, take it. And it's really bad. You know, if I went in there and then made a YouTube video about it, it's pretty bad. Now, I want to talk about Dr. Gupta and Brighton Dental. You know, Dr. Gupta and Brighton Dental have been with the Steve Kane Show for more years than I can remember. And he's been our resident dentist here on the program for years and years and years. And he does incredible dental work. Whatever type of dental work you need, he does it, and he does it incredibly well because he's highly trained, highly experienced, and he does incredible work. And I've been talking to Steve a lot about, we talk about sometimes, about the different messages we share with you about our sponsors. And, and what I've been telling Steve when we talk about Dr. Gupta, I hear radio commercials for dentistry for years on other radio stations, and they all talk about painless dentistry. Well, yeah, they have drugs for that at all the dentists. We all know that. And I personally believe, now maybe I'm wrong, but I personally believe the pain that keeps people from going to the dentist more than anything is not the pain from the actual dental work, because that's a given. You can take medication for that. It's the pain of the price, and these dentists around South Florida, they treat everybody like they call them South Beach pricing, but it's like Beverly Hills pricing. Not Dr. Gupta. He's an old-fashioned family dental practice, an old-fashioned family dentist who has old-fashioned family prices too. His practice is from another era, and so are his prices, which are from another decade. And I'll tell you another thing with Dr. Gupta, that you see this at these other dental practices. You go in there you have one problem. You may even be an emergency, right? Dr. Gupta can help you with emergencies as well. But you go to these other dentists, you've got a specific issue you've got to take care of. And next thing you know, they're telling you need this, you need that, you need the other thing. And the next thing you know, you're taking out a second mortgage. Not with Dr. Gupta, okay? You go in there, you're not gonna be sold a bunch of work you don't need. Give him a call, and he's been a listener of the Steve Kane Show for decades and decades. So when you go see Dr. Gupta, it's going to be like he's a member of the family because he knows the show, he knows the characters involved with calling the show and everything else. So you'll have a lot in common with him too. Give Dr. Gupta a call, 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. All right, we'll take our first break of the second hour and be right back. All right, those of you on hold, hang in there, okay? I'm going to take a quick break, all right? Don't go anywhere.
Are you retired and wondering what comes next? Your experience still has value. Your passions, hobbies, knowledge, and skills could become the foundation of a profitable online business. At retirementprogram.org, you'll discover a practical internet marketing strategy designed to help everyday people just like you create additional income from what they already know. With retirementprogram.org, you'll learn how to build your very first website, even with no programming experience. Discover the basics of getting your website found on Google. Learn to attract targeted visitors and turn that traffic into revenue. This free step-by-step guide explains how to choose a topic, create useful content, improve your search rankings, and explore proven ways to make money online. Retirementprogram.org isn't about getting rich overnight. It's about investing a little time each week to build something that can grow over time and provide an additional source of income during your retirement. Your dream career may not be behind you. It could be just beginning. Visit retirementprogram.org to today and get your free guide. And share the link on all your social media so your retired friends can join in too. That's retirementprogram.org. From author Tyree Carter comes your next must-read book that makes a great addition to your book club. It Happened in Vegas. Vegas was the lie. Love was the truth. Available on Amazon. 4 years. That's how long Hinyal has spent trying to silence the memories of a bitter divorce, pouring every ounce of her soul into her designs. Raul knows all too well how fragile life can be. Still mourning the loss of his wife to cancer, he's built a life of cold control until he meets the woman who could thaw his guarded heart. He wasn't looking to love again. She wasn't looking to trust. But in a city built on neon dreams, they might just find a second chance neither dared to hope for. It Happened in Vegas. Sometimes the biggest risk is opening your heart. Get your copy today on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. It Happened in Vegas. Vegas was the lie. Love was the truth. From author Tyree Carter on Amazon.
All right, we will be back in just over a minute. If you're on hold, stand by. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Oh, my goodness. All right, hold on. Okay. How am I going to do that? Okay, we've got about 40 seconds and we'll be back. Oh, man. I still can't believe Lindsey Graham is gone. It just has not sunk in yet. It's crazy, isn't it? ICE are welcome everywhere. It's the United States, okay? Sorry. There's no way it's just a coincidence there was an ICE-involved shooting in Maine after all this Grand Platinum mess. With all those activists on this? Are you kidding me? All right, 10 seconds. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Our number is 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Okay, so yesterday, President Trump announced that he's going to have an address to the nation Thursday night at 9 p.m. We're not really sure what it's about. They did say it's not Iran. And then, not long after that announcement, there was a story that the liberals had picked up on, that there was a leak that said it's going to be about his election investigations. And maybe, I hope so, but that would go along with the passage of the Save America Act. But what are your thoughts? What do you think it is going to be about? Thursday night, prime time, and it's not Iran. What else could it be? You're on the air.
Yeah, hey, Ned.
No.
You know, I call these people liberal terrorists. I think that's a pretty good name. I don't know if you'll run with it, but we'll call them liberal terrorists, including the illegal.
No.
Like
Nothing you say would I ever run with.
Well, you know, when you go against your own people, you lose your country. I voted for Trump. I still hate him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. See, the reason is this guy with the cartoon voice, he's been calling for years. He's a liberal hater, so he's one of these that, the problem is he has such a distinct voice on top of his mental problems, he can't disguise it. And he always tries to pass himself off as conservative, one of your own. Oh, my goodness. If white supremacy and all this stuff was really in the conservative movement, liberals wouldn't have to pretend to be conservatives and say racist things. It would just happen, right? But anyway, so we don't know what this is going to be about, but Thursday night in prime time. But it did come out yesterday that, and this is probably happening because of the death of Lindsey Graham, that we are going to get the Save America Act passed. And they're going to do it in a way that doesn't involve nuking the filibuster, which I don't understand why they care about that, but they, other than that they want to slow things down and not get it passed. But they are going to put it as part of a budget issue, which means it'll go through. And this is the beginning. In fact, when the Save America Act is passed and is in effect, And in many places, it'll be, if they pass it now, the Save America Act will be in place in a lot of the country, not the whole country. But by the presidential election, it'll be in effect everywhere. Okay? And when that happens, it's done for the Democrats. They are done. We are going to get when the Save America Act is passed and the Save America Act is in place, we're going to get what we've never gotten in any of our lifetimes. We're going to get a free and fair election in this country that is a true representation of what the American people voted for. And that's what has the Democrats panicked. This is Slotkin, the CIA senator yesterday. And this really is making the rounds. She's talking to a group of Democrats about the Save America Act.
The other thing that we blocked yesterday was the SAVE Act, right? Which was literally allow this administration to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election.
Okay, now one thing I know, this is the first time I've seen Elise Slotkin, the CIA senator, like her body. I've seen her head, because she's like a talking head on TV all the time. She wears like the baggiest clothes I've ever seen. I don't know. Her face is not representative of her body. But anyway, she has like a normal size face, and her body is in a different proportion than that of her face. I'll tell you that. But she says here it'll be difficult for Democrats to win elections anywhere. Why is that? When you have to show proof of citizenship to register to vote, which means only American citizens will be able to vote, right? And you have to show government-issued photo ID to vote. So why would that make it difficult for Democrats to win elections anywhere unless they have a bunch of non-citizens and fictitious people voting? I don't understand why the Save America Act would stop that other than, fraud. I want to talk about Joe Thomas and annuities. Annuities are absolutely amazing. And you guys know with annuities, your money is never at risk, right? No matter what happens in the market, your money is safe and you're guaranteed a check each and every month for the rest of your life. And, that's amazing, right? Really, you're giving yourself a pension and it comes the same day every month forever. Isn't that something? I know. It's absolutely amazing. And one of the things I've learned from Joe Thomas is there's so many different types of annuities, right? People have different goals, different situations, and different needs, and there's so many different types of annuities. There's one annuity, this blew my mind. You get a 15% bonus on day one. So the money that you put into the annuity, you add 15% to it on day one. So if it's $100,000 on day one, you have $115,000. Isn't that crazy? It's amazing. That's right. And that annuity is available for as little as $25,000. And that's a big bone. 15% of $25,000 is over $3,000. It's a lot of money on day one. But there's other types of annuities for other situations. Call Joe Thomas and schedule your no-charge consultation. You can take advantage of this no matter where you're located. And if you're local, please go meet Joe Thomas and take advantage of that no-charge consultation at his office in Jupiter. But you can also schedule the no-charge consultation over the phone or a video call. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. And if you miss that number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com, and you'll find it there. All right, we'll take our bottom of the hour break and be right back. Okay, hang in there, guys. If you're on hold, stand by. Okay, all right. Okay, if you're on hold, hang in there, guys. We're going to take a quick break, all right? Be right back.
Life can leave us with a lot of questions. Why did this happen to me? Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? And where is God in all of it? If you've ever asked those questions, you need to tune into the Healing Philosophers podcast with The Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Through honest conversations and real-life experiences, each episode explores topics like healing from past hurts, generational karma, letting go of what's holding you back, understanding narcissism, and discovering how God can use even life's hardest moments for a greater purpose. The Healing Philosophers podcast is about finding hope, growing in your faith, and realizing that your story and every season of your life has meaning. Add the Healing Philosophers podcast to your Spotify playlist and make sure to share the podcast on all your social media and invite your friends and family to listen in too. Your share could be exactly what someone else needs right now. The Healing Philosophers podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Healing starts with one conversation. Listen now on Spotify. What if you could have a professional website online in just 60 seconds for less than $1? You can with forless.ai. That's FOR-less.ai. Forless.ai is the fastest and easiest way to build a beautiful website using the power of artificial intelligence. With forless.ai, there's no coding, no designers, and no complicated software. Simply go to forless.ai. Describe your business or idea in plain English. And forless.ai automatically generates a complete, ready-to-publish website in seconds. Whether you're starting a small business, promoting your services, launching a side hustle, or building your personal brand, forless.ai gets you online quickly, affordably, and professionally. Spend less time building and more time growing your business. Build your website in just 60 seconds for less than $1. Visit forless.ai right now. That's FOR-less.ai. Forless.ai. Less time, less effort, more results. Forless.ai.
I have to pause this for a second.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Brian, good morning. How are you?
Good, good, good. So what do you have for us this week?
Well, I had a couple of situations just in the last couple of weeks that reminds us that it's so important to, obviously, you want to make sure it's all done correctly and have updating systems and all that, things that we talk about all the time. But you also need to make sure that you keep them in a place where your personal representatives, your successor trustees can find those papers. You want to keep them somewhere safe, but somewhere that they can find it. I've had two situations within the last couple of weeks. One with a person who only had some of the documents and some of the documents missing that have been found, but it's been a couple of years, would have made a huge difference. So that was one thing. And then another thing where there's another situation where there's a family where the person had done a estate plan in another state. They had done it, an updated one in Florida, but the family can't find it. And so all of these situations have created a lot of chaos and complexity when it didn't have to be. And it's all just a matter of being able to find those documents when the time comes, and the original documents ideally. So make sure that when you get your documents, ideally, like what we do at the Siegel Law Group, they come in a very nice binder, and it's very hard to not find. You keep it with your other important paperwork. not just a folded up piece of paper or document in a envelope that's hidden somewhere that's going to be impossible to find. So that's my advice today. Make sure it's somewhere where your loved ones are going to be able to find it.
Absolutely, that's important. If they can't find the trust, there's some big trouble about that. Listen, the Siegel Law Group also out there, guys, for July, and it'll be over before you know it, is offering an incredible special. The first time that the Siegel Law Group has offered such a special. Do you want to? I'll let you tell people, Barry, because I don't want to mess it up. I want to make sure we get it right.
Oh, no. I'm sure you wouldn't anyway. But, in July, for those of you who schedule and hire us before the end of July, and, we're already just about halfway through July, so right now really is the time to act. If you schedule and hire us in July, you will get $1,000 off your Living Trust package that you choose for you and your family. So, like Brian says, we've never given a discount like that before. We have certain discounts that you might be able to get when you attend a Living Trust seminar, but it's not even that amount once you.
And this is in honor of America's 250th anniversary. It's $250 times 4, $1,000 off. Yeah, and it's a great offer.
And it is, and it's also in honor of independence for yourselves, for your family, to have that peace of mind. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to get people to take action to do what they need to do so they can gain that independence.
Absolutely. Listen, call the Siegel Law Group, take advantage of that $1,000 off, and schedule your no-charge in-office consultation. 855 FLA 3782, 855 FLA 3782, and online SiegelLawGroup.com. SiegelLawGroup.com, and Siegel is spelled SIEGEL. SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
Great. Thanks, Brian.
All right, take care. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
I got to tell you, you did a good job putting yourself in Mitch McConnell's place, man. I got to get that.
Oh, you're looking at my AI? Yeah, I took Mitch McConnell. Elaine Chao came to visit me in the hospital. If you go to my X, you go on YouTube, you can see it. And it took me like 10 seconds to make that picture.
Man, I don't know what program you got. I got to get that. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Anyhow, I'm hoping that President Trump is going to talk about the Save America Act, and it's not going to get watered down like Congress usually tries to do. They come up with a good idea, and they water. I'm sure the Democrats are saying, "Well, all right." If that happens, we're in trouble. But we still have the mail-in ballots, and we still have the rigged elections that we can have.
Well, you got to remember with Donald Trump, President Trump always asks for more than he wants, so that he can think you're getting some things from him when you're really not. So when whatever the final version he signs in the law is, it may not be everything that we've heard about. But it'll still be more than Donald Trump really wanted.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be.
I would settle for proof of citizenship to register to vote, and government-issued ID to vote in person. I'd settle for that if that was the law of the land. That would be a good first step. If we had to give up everything else just to get those two things, I'd do it, because those are important.
That's certainly going to be really important. It's a fair election, but them Democrats, they'll figure something out to try to cheat if they can.
Yeah, well, they're freaking out. They're freaking out. All right, Doug, I appreciate the call. This Save America. See what happened. This, when this really went downhill, we've got the Republicans to blame. After the 2000 recount in Florida, okay, and remember George W. Bush won by about 150 votes or something here in Florida. It was crazy, right? That's when this voting month came in. And voting month, it used to be that absentee voting was just for people that were going on long vacations. Like someone's going to take a round-the-world cruise, they'll vote absentee. And then they turned into this voting month, and the absentee ballots, became like the way of things. And that was the idea of the Democrats. And I remember, Steve will remember this too. I know he'll remember this. This was crazy. Okay, this was after the 2000 recount, and the voting month came in, and then we had the electronic voting machines for the first. Do you guys remember the electronic voting machines when they first came in? And we had a senior member of the Democrat Party for the entire state of Florida, and he told us during the break, he says, we got to get rid of those. And Steve said, why? And he says, they're too accurate. It's like, what? I mean, I thought he was joking, but you know what? He was serious, and I realized that's how Democrats talk to each other. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Haley, and I'm calling from California.
All right, Haley in California. What's on your mind?
I don't know. I think Trump is the worst president we've ever had.
Oh, your cell phone cut out. What'd you say? You think Trump's the greatest president we've ever had? Is that what you said? Trump is the greatest president this country's ever had? Is that what you said? Your cell phone cut out. Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
No, he's the worst president we've ever had.
The worst?
He's terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you serious? You pulling my leg? Are you serious?
No.
Okay, give me an example. Okay, he's the worst. Give
human
me the worst thing he's done. No profanity.
He was liable for SA.
He was liable for what?
He was liable for SA. He was.
What is SA? What is SA?
Sexual assault.
What is libel? What does it
agent-
mean? What does it mean to libel? What is libel?
He was accused.
No.
Which means,
Lots of people are accused. Accused is what does libel mean? You say he was liable for sexual assault. I don't understand how you can be liable for sexual assault. But I went to school in Florida. You're out in California, where I'm sure you have a superior education system than we do in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So libel for sexual assault. How do you do that? What does that mean? How do you what does the word libel mean?
It means that he was actually I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of.
I know. Hey, trying to defend liberalism is difficult. It's hard.
No, I'm trying to find the word.
Well, here's the question. Libel. You said he was liable for sexual assault. What does the word libel mean?
It means that a jury of 9 of his peers agreed that he sexually assaulted.
No. The word libel. You said libel for sexual assault. What does the word libel mean? Do you know? If you don't know, I'll tell you. Libel. Do you know what it means?
You can tell me if you want.
Okay,
to.
libel is a false statement that you make in writing, right? You make a false statement in writing. That's what libel is. If you libel someone, you've written something that is untrue. You've libeled them. Sexual assault is a physical act, right?
Yeah.
So how do you commit a libel sexual assault? How does that work? I don't understand, because sexual assault is a physical act of violence. Libel is the written word. So how do you say he was found guilty, which is not true, but how do you find someone guilty of libel sexual assault?
The Supreme Court actually also found him guilty.
No, they said no. They refused to hear the case. Supreme Court refused to hear the case. If libel is putting something down in writing that is not true, what is the act of a libel sexual assault? Do you know? If you don't know, that's okay. Tell me. You say
he was accused.
Well, lots of people are accused.
That's not what libel means.
Yeah, libel is you've written something down that is not true.
No, liable means legally responsible for something.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know what dictionary you're looking up while we're speaking for your to try to make up for your limited vocabulary. But if you libel someone, you have written something down that is not true. So how do you commit a libel sexual assault?
Liable?
A libel
means
sexual assault.
Responsible, accountable, and answerable.
No, it does not. Libel is a written lie.
I can't believe you're fighting against Webster. That's crazy.
Well, I know. I just went to school and have an education.
Yeah, from Florida.
Yeah, from Florida. That's right, the greatest state in America.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Democratic country.
No. So what I'm trying to figure out is, you said President Trump is the worst president we've ever had, and you said the worst thing he ever did is when he was found guilty for libel sexual assault, and I'm trying to understand what that crime is, because I don't understand how libel is written lies. How do you and sexual assault is a physical act of violence? How does the written word turn into violence like that? How does that work?
Because there was proof and evidence that she was sexually assaulted. She had a dress that had male DNA in it, and they
that was Monica Lewinsky with Bill Clinton. That was the blue dress with the stain on it that she kept in the closet for years.
No,
that was Monica.
Carroll.
That was Monica Lewinsky in the blue dress. But certainly there must be some other. Pick the second worst thing President Trump has done. You say he's the worst president ever. What's the second worst thing?
He looked at naked women and girls without their permission.
When did he do this?
He did it when he was in the Miss Teen USA and the Miss USA pageants, when he owned the pageants. He said that since he was the owner of the pageants, he was allowed to go in there without their
people
permission.
go into dressing rooms of television productions, but he did not walk through a dressing room with naked teenagers in it. That's not true. You know, this is an interesting thing. You think you don't like President Trump, but the reasons you give, none of them are true. They're all fictitious. If you knew the real Donald Trump, you'd probably love him. Hey, listen, I got to run for a break. I got to run for a break. How many states are there? Thinking. She's thinking.
52.
52 states. Okay. That's great. There's 52 states. What was the 52nd state to join the union?
I don't know. I have a learning disability.
Yeah. It's called liberalism. That's your disability.
No.
Yes. All right, California. Take care. Thanks for the call. Let me talk about Dr. Appleton and his robotic laser away pain treatment. Are there any doctors out there that treat liberalism? You know, because we could send you a lot of patients. Dr. Appleton and his robotic laser away pain treatment is it is a miraculous treatment. And I just want to talk about the laser for a moment. Dr. Appleton doesn't have just a laser, it's a robotic laser, right? With emphasis on robotic. And the importance of that is his laser, which of course repairs the damage that's causing you the pain, but because it's robotic, moves around the entire area that's injured. So when I go in for my shoulder injuries that I've had, falling off my retired skateboard, you know, Dr. Appleton's able to determine where in the shoulder the pain's coming from, and he starts the robotic laser there, but it moves around the entire shoulder, all around it, so that the robotic laser is treating the injury from the front, the side, the top, behind, and it heals the entire area from every side of it. And by the way, that goes from my arthritis in my hand, my knee. Dr. Appleton's robotic laser moves all around all those areas so that the injury is treated from all directions. Give Dr. Appleton a call. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays, okay? If you have scans, if you have x-rays, bring them with you. Give them a call and say bye-bye to your pain like I've done 7 times. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. Oh, man. You know, I thought she might have gotten the states right. I thought there was a pause there, so I knew she was doing some searching, you know, on the Chat GPT or something. But yeah, you cannot libelly sexually assault someone. That's not, it's just not possible. It's crazy talk is what it is. All right, hang in there, guys. All right. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I'll go to the phones after the break. Okay. And if you'd like to call in, the number, we'll be back in about 90 seconds. The number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you're listening. Yeah, see, I made this picture here this morning. It took me just a few seconds. See, look at this. Elaine Chao came to visit me in the hospital. Yeah, took a picture with me. There she is. And I'm wearing the same clothes as her husband, of course. Oh, my goodness. Isn't that something? We'll be back in 1 minute. That's amazing. Isn't Elaine Chao really nice? She came to visit me in the hospital yesterday. Look at that. Yeah. I have not asked that how many states question in a long time. That's really scary because that's something that every kid used to learn. You didn't even have to think about it. California, yes. Well, the reason I asked is because she said she went to school in a superior education system, California versus Florida. So I asked her that, and and when I heard the pause, I'm like, okay, she's doing an online search. Oh my! Usually they say 51, not 52. That was all right. 10 seconds. Oh my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Laura in Lithia.
Lithia? Where's Lithia?
It's right outside of Tampa.
Oh, okay. What's up?
Well, I listen to you daily since I found you by mistake a few years ago.
By mistake.
But I wanted to call and tell you what is the greatest thing about your show. And that is that you let the progressives speak. It's so great to hear them because the lady from California, Doc, all of them, you can hear how clueless they are. So that's what I love. I mean, I love listening to the like-minded conservatives, but the liberals tell the tale.
Well, when I haven't asked that how many states question there are in a long time, and there was a there was a pause, and I knew she was doing the Google search in or on ChatGPT or something, but they usually say 51. 52 is an unusual one. That was but I couldn't resist because she was talking about how she was educated in the superior California school system as opposed to me in Florida.
Right. Well, even just hearing their political stances is just really enlightening. So keep up the good work.
Well, I appreciate the call near Tampa. Lithia. I've never heard of Lithia before. Is that a tiny town? I've never heard of Lithia.
Yeah, you have. Well, it's a suburb. It's
I see. A suburb.
Here is in the neighborhood of
all right. A suburb. That counts. All right. Take care.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
All right, that county over there, Hillsborough, is very liberal. Yeah, if you go to my X, you'll see this incredible photograph. Elaine Chao came to visit me in the hospital yesterday, and she didn't even seem to notice that I was wearing the same clothes as her husband in the hospital. And that I'm holding the same newspaper. It's absolutely amazing. I do want to tell you, though, that I opened up with a story that's a very important story. A man was arrested in New York State yesterday, Rochester, New York, for threatening the life of Don Jr. And this story is nowhere in the news. It's insane to me. It's the second threat and arrest against one of the first children in the last couple of weeks. Because there was the threat against Ivanka and her family a couple weeks back. Now we've got this one. And this guy in Rochester, he was openly threatening Don Jr.'s life. He was in the live chat of Don Jr.'s show, right? He does his show's called Triggered, and this guy was triggered, and he was in the live chat of Don Jr.'s show threatening his life. And the Secret Service were there, and they saw it. And of course, they went to work. And then he started at the same time doing his own live stream and was online threatening him openly. He got arrested yesterday on the second anniversary of the Never Trumpers assassination attempt on the president in Butler. And this story is nowhere. These stories need to be publicized to let people know that if you do such things, you will go to jail. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bill from Boynton Beach.
Hey, Bill, what's up?
You embarrass yourself every day.
Well, At least I'm consistent.
Well, that's true. That's true, and it's, I guess, a point in your favor.
And doing it every day, it means I'm reliable too. I'm consistent. I'm reliable. These are very good qualities.
That's funny. That's kind of the reason I called for a rhyming word. You just had a mental battle with a mental deficient. Although she won, her word is liable. L-I-A-B-L-E.
So you gotta. So let me get this straight. You're a person of superior intelligence, not just to me, but to the girl from California.
Yes.
This is interesting. Are you?
Listen once.
No. Are you? Who else? Excuse me.
Speak when you're interrupting.
Oh, that's my line. That's my line.
Yeah. How does it feel?
It feels good to be mocked. Imitation is the greatest compliment.
Here's an explanation that you may have difficulty understanding, but Google it. Okay. Liable is being found responsible. Libel is making a false statement about someone. Two different
Excuse me. When you are listen, you are
different words, you moron. Talk me I'm wrong.
It's hard to tell you anything when you won't stop speaking. But as a man
when someone talks over you? You moron.
You're not talking over me because you're not on the air anymore. Now I'm the only one talking. Oh my goodness. Was he triggered? A man of superior intelligence like himself, and he just kept repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Oh my goodness. Don Jr. came up with the perfect name for his show, Triggered, because these liberals, they are triggered, aren't they? You cannot be liable for a sexual assault. Okay? You can't. It's not possible. It's not possible. I want to talk about life imaging. With the passing of Lindsey Graham yesterday, we were talking about Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham's passing over the weekend. It really tells you the importance of having a heart scan. You never know, right? Unless you have the heart scan. And, what the heart scan does is it's preventative, right? You find out about problems before you have that widowmaker heart attack, before you have that aneurysm, before that cancer grows. The heart scan is amazing, and they're saving lives every day over at Life Imaging. They have locations in Palm Beach, Broward, Dade, and in Orlando. Call Life Imaging for your free heart scan now with a few minimum requirements valued at $699. From your cell, call pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250. Just say free heart scan. All right? Okay, 2 hours down, 1 to go. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I was so excited to talk to a man of superior intelligence as the guy from Boynton Beach, but he just couldn't stop repeating himself over and over again. You hear how he wants to punish me? How does it feel? How's it feel? Liberal. You know what the liberals are like? They're like the guy in the Gimp in Pulp Fiction. They want you to feel pain. You're never going to make us feel pain on this program, all right? All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio, My name's Brian Craig. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. Come back with Steve Kane and more of these liberals after this. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. That guy was something else. All right. Stand by, guys.
Hi, Tom Laporta here. We are Laporta Roofing, a family business since 1983. You are our customer. In other words, our boss. We are here for and because of you, not the other way around. The 2026 rainy season is upon us. Because we haven't had a hurricane in 2 years, all the storm chaser roofing companies have gone out of business, leaving only the strongest and the best contractors. At Laporta Roofing, we will never sell you a roof you don't need. We don't have salesmen or commissions, so we will never pressure you to sign a contract. Also, deposits are not required. At Laporta Roofing, you will always come first. We must earn your trust, and we will. So call me on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602, or on the web at laportaroofing.com.
My Pillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium My Pillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings $19.98, Queens only $18.98. And Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you, what a concept, now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
All right, a little more than a minute. We'll be back.
Sounds good.
All right, 30 seconds.
I'm with you.
All right, the 8 o'clock hour has begun. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane joining us. The liberals aren't feeling too well today, Steve. Everyone I've talked to has been unhinged at a different degree, but
They sure do seem crazy.
it started early this morning, and it just keeps getting worse. The Trump derangement syndrome is growing in the audience. Oh, my goodness.
That last guy who wouldn't let you get a word in edgewise. By the way, I had a word of, as your senior mentor, I had a word of friendly advice for you. That's what they made the whole button for.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work that. We're up against the break, and I had to do a spot.
You did good.
I had to. Come on, I'm up against a break. I got a spot to do. I would have kept that guy on for 20 minutes. Are you kidding?
You're my favorite talk show host.
That's right, next to yourself, of course. But the thing. Hold on a second. The thing about this, though. Okay, the reason that that particular guy was triggered is, this term gaslighting took me a long time to understand. When people started talking about gaslighting a few years ago, I didn't really understand. I've seen both gaslighting movies, which are pretty good. Have you seen Gaslight? I'm sure
I don't
you've seen
think
it.
so.
I love film.
Who's in it?
I can't remember. I love I love film noir, and it kind of like there's two versions of it. One's better than the other, but they're both good. And when people first started talking about gaslighting, though, I couldn't understand the concept and but what it is, because it never been used really. What gaslighting is convincing someone that something is true that obviously is not true, right?
Okay.
That's what gaslighting is. But liberals...
Well, we get a lot of that on this show, that's for sure.
Well, liberals gaslight themselves, right? So liberals convince themselves of things that are not true. And what triggers them oftentimes is when they start to come out of that delusion and realize that their fantasies are not real. And that's when
it's a horrible moment.
And that's when they start to lash out. Yes. And they like to run around saying that Trump's a rapist. He's not. Yeah. and the dress was Lewinsky. But the libel for rape, for sexual assault, what they were trying to say is that he tweeted something on social media about it, and that was what he did. That was a crime. Okay? And that's where the libel came in, that he tweeted something.
Exactly.
And tweeting something on social media is not a sexual assault. I've got news for you. All right, but these brain dead liberals, even though that I just told you that, the next time they won't know because it won't sink in. Their Trump derangement syndrome blocks this out. So
rots the brain.
All right, do you want to take a call or two? There's a lot going on
Sure.
here. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Carlos, Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Hey, Carlos.
Hey, 52 states.
Yes.
Now, hear me out.
Yes.
It's the education system. Because I got a nephew. I swear to God Almighty, I had to bring out my global atlas and show him. Because he was arguing me. He was telling me that Africa was a country.
Yes.
And he wants to become a teacher. So we got idiots teaching idiots, and then you put pot on top of that, and then you give them smoke pot on top of that. It's ridiculous. And second of all, Donald Trump was never found guilty of raping that girl because that girl didn't even know what day she was raped or where she was raped.
Decade.
Exactly.
She didn't know what decade.
Right. And what he was found guilty is because they said that he insulted her. Say, oh, I wouldn't go. Just look at her. I wouldn't do that.
Yes.
That's the only thing they found him guilty of because he insulted her. But
And the 52 state girl, okay, at the end, when she says, well, she said, what did she say? She was mentally disabled, mentally challenged or something. Okay. I've known people and do know people that have learning disabilities and have suffered different levels of, I know you're not supposed to use these words anymore, but like mental retardation and such. And people that...
like Jane Renee?
Yes. Okay. People that are in those situations, they're not aware of it. Typically.
Right.
Okay. So what she did was, I'm looking stupid. You're asking me questions faster than Google can give me the answers. So I'm going to say, well, I'm mentally disabled. Give me a break.
It's incredible.
All right, Carlos. I appreciate the call.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Did you have anything in particular, Steve, you wanted to go with? Because there's a couple stories.
No. Just carry on.
Okay. There's a couple stories out there that I just want to mention. This guy that got arrested in New York for threatening the life of Don Jr., there's like no stories about this. And this guy, what he did was insane, Steve, what this guy did. Okay? This guy is one of the most dumb Democrats out there, and he's going to prison, hopefully. Although he got arrested in New York, so who knows? Is Rochester conservative to our New Yorkers out there? Because he was arrested by the FBI and Secret Service in Rochester, New York. Is that part of the conservative part of the state?
I don't know if there's anything you'd really call conservative. There's
New York
extreme liberal.
Yeah. So Don Jr.'s doing his show, right? He does a show every day, and it's called Triggered with Don Jr. And he's got a live chat like I have on YouTube. The guy is in Don Jr.'s live chat, threatening his life, in the most graphic ways you can, using his real name, by the way. And and the Secret Service saw it. So they start to get active, tracking him down. He starts his own live stream online at the same time and starts threatening Don Jr. with his face and verbally as he's typing in Don Jr.'s live chat. And the threats, I'm not going to tell you what the threats were because they're really bad. I mean, they're pretty graphic and very explicit and very specific. And
you're not going to tell us.
Well, I can't, no, because it's not, there's things I'm not going to say. And it's pretty bad, right? And the guy has Trump derangement syndrome so bad, he's not even hiding it. He's showing his face and he's using his real name. So they got him real quick. And I'm surprised he's only, the maximum sentence is 5 years for that, which I can't believe it's only 5 years, if the Rochester jury will convict him in the federal court there.
Big if.
Yeah. And, there was this, a similar arrest made for threats against Ivanka Trump just a couple of weeks ago, right? Remember the guy that was going to threaten to blow up her house in Miami?
Right.
This is the first time I have ever heard of threats like this against the children of a president. The children of presidents, it's not that they don't make their way in the news. The press usually follow the Republican children around. Like they used to try, like I remember one time the Bush girls ordered a margarita in a Mexican restaurant, and then then they're on the front page of the Inquirer that they're trying to buy booze, like every other teenager. And Ronald Reagan's kids were followed and harassed by the press. But I have never known of a threat against the children of a president before. Now we have 2 in the last month of Trump children. President Trump has had, just since Butler alone, which the anniversary of that was yesterday, 2 years yesterday is when the Never Trumpers shot the president in Butler. President Trump, just since Butler, has had more assassination attempts against him than all of the other presidents combined. Think about that. I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean, and just...
It's scary, yeah, there's no question.
I mean, just in the last few weeks, we had the Iranians in Turkey, the UFC fight, right? The illegal Mexican had put together a team of assassins for the UFC fight, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the guy who drove his truck from North Carolina and broke through the gates of Mar-a-Lago. Those are just in the last few weeks. And what's happened though, Steve, we have a major epidemic of left-wing political violence in this country, no doubt about it. But what gets me, and I can't get my mind wrapped around it, with this guy that got arrested in the Don Jr. thing yesterday, they feel totally justified in this. It's like they haven't done anything wrong, and
they're nuts, Brian. They're crazy people. They Trump derangement syndrome. But you don't have to go further than that.
Well, what's driving them to the violence all of a sudden?
Insanity.
Okay. I
give
you that.
You've heard of out of the pale. These people are out of the pale.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
All.
I'll give you that. Now, if you're on...
When you understand that, you understand it all.
But they've always been nuts. But they've just... Something about the Trump derangement syndrome has driven them to a whole new level.
It's more acute. It's a more acute illness. It is an actual illness. People say, it started as a joke. But it's not a joke anymore. It's really a psychological phenomenon.
Well, it's dangerous.
Our society.
It's dangerous.
That's for sure.
Yeah. I want to talk about Friendly Tire and Margate. I want to be over at Friendly Tire and Margate later today. I told you guys I bought tires at Friendly Tire and Margate, and I got specialty tires for my wife's car. And I was at the dealership a couple weeks ago getting an oil change, and they said, "Oh, you need new tires." And I asked them what the price was because I wanted to compare it to Friendly Tire. I'm not going to buy tires anywhere else. And I am getting 4. Listen to this, Steve. And you had a similar experience with your Toyota recently when your wife went over to Friendly Tire. I am getting... Yes. Now, again, I have specialty tires on my wife's car. I am getting 4 brand new tires at Friendly Tire in Margate for less than the price of 1 tire at the dealership. 4 new tires at Friendly Tire in Margate for less than the price of one tire at the dealership. All I got to do now is give out the number, okay? 954-977-9445. Call Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. We'll be right back. All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. All right? Hold on.
You got it.
Life can leave us with a lot of questions. Why did this happen to me? Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? And where is God in all of it? If you've ever asked those questions, you need to tune into the Healing Philosophers Podcast with The Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Through honest conversations and real-life experiences, each episode explores topics like healing from past hurts, generational karma, letting go of what's holding you back, understanding narcissism, and discovering how God can use even life's hardest moments for a greater purpose. The Healing Philosophers Podcast is about finding hope, growing in your faith, and realizing that your story in every season of your life has meaning. Add the Healing Philosophers Podcast to your Spotify playlist, and make sure to share the podcast on all your social media and invite your friends and family to listen in too. Your share could be exactly what someone else needs right now. The Healing Philosophers Podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Healing starts with one conversation. Listen now on Spotify.
All right, Steve, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we got about 1 minute. You should see
good.
you should see this picture I did with AI. I replaced Mitch McConnell with me with Elaine Chao in the hospital bed.
That's funny.
Yeah. Looks just like it's just she came to visit me. All right, 45 seconds. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there, guys. All right, 15 seconds. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. You want to take another couple calls, Steve?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Ryan, am I coming in okay?
Not really, but we'll give it a go.
IB in Broward. Uncle Steve, how are you?
Hey, Ivy, what's up?
You know, it's getting so monotonous. These grown people, that lady from California, Miss I'm smarter than you, still living in the past, forgetting about everything Trump is doing and has done. And she wants to talk about something that has been debunked a long time ago. Yeah, she's smarter than Brian. She has a higher education, talking about 52 states. What a dummy. I mean, like, could you believe these people are still living and they cannot change their mind? So, of course, J.D. Vance is right. There's no
Why do you say they're winning? I don't think they're winning. I think they're on the verge of a catastrophic disaster.
I didn't say winning.
I thought you said
we're winning.
No
we're
way.
winning.
Are you kidding? No. You're out of their bloody minds.
Okay,
No.
then I misunderstood.
You know what?
I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
And Brian,
I apologize.
Invoke the rules. No problem.
What are the rules?
But
Invoke what
Brian,
rule?
Invoke. Doc needs to change his calls because I'm sure like a lot of people are getting stabbed with a dagger in the morning having to hear him on the first call in the first segment. You know, most of the time that he calls, he's like the first or second call.
I take the calls in the order in which they came in.
No, I'm telling you to tell him change his calls up. Otherwise,
Well, you know, some of you guys complain about Doc, but you guys seem to talk about him a lot. So I think Doc's a good caller.
I'm not complaining.
You know,
I'm not
when
complaining.
you're, you know, IB.
I want Ricky.
All right, hey, Rich. All right, IB. I appreciate the call. We got a bad connection. You know, the thing is, okay. Sometimes people complain about the quality of the Democrats that call the program. That's just a statement and reflection on the state of the average Democrat in America today, right?
They're crazy people.
Yes, and very uninformed. And that's just the way it is. So I can't help it.
People think it's a joke. It's not a joke. It's serious. It's destroying relationships. It's destroying families, tearing them apart. People can't even get together for holidays anymore because people can't even converse civilly anymore. It's outrageous what's going on.
We have one liberal in my whole family, right? And
that's all it takes.
And when once or twice a year, my wife always says, "Brian, don't bring up any politics or anything," and I don't, but I know they will, and they're itching to. And and when they do, and it's so funny when they do, they bring up these things, and you and I are pretty well informed on the news. They bring up all these things and people I've never heard of, right? Like, so we're having Thanksgiving dinner. Well, what do you think about the Welsher Group? And Don Simpson. I'm like, who is that? I don't know what the Welsher Group is. Don Simpson, he's got the Welsher Group and he got that deal. And they watch Rachel Maddow, and it's like they're in a.
By the way, I find her increasingly difficult to find. I was trying to find her over the weekend. My sister is in town, and she wanted to listen to Rachel. She's a liberal, my sister.
She's on Monday nights at MSNBC. She looks like Elvis Costello back in the 80s.
Well, what the hell is that thing? She's on the star of the station. She's on one night a week?
Monday nights.
What's that about? I've never heard of being a star and being on once a week.
That's how big she is. She only has to come on once a week. I don't
buy it.
You know what cracks me up is on election nights on MSNBC, they have Rachel Maddow there at the center, like she's the oracle of all knowledge. She's one of the dumbest people on television. She's pretty stupid.
No, I don't agree with that.
Really? You think she's smart?
I think she's a smart cookie. I think she's a highly skilled propagandist. Very, very effective. I think, by the way, my theory is that's why she only works one night a week, where she doesn't have to.
Well, I give you that.
Get paid
Millions.
Because I think she's on the Soros payroll and a bunch of these other real oligarchs, not the ones that Bernie talks.
Do you know what her hobby is? Do you know what she does as a hobby?
I can only imagine.
When she said this, I couldn't believe it. What would you think? Rachel Maddow. What do you think her hobby is?
Nothing I could repeat over the air.
No, you can repeat this. This is so ridiculous. And I'm not kidding. I've heard her say this more than once.
Tell me.
Trout fishing.
Trout fishing?
Yes. I didn't know people still did that. Trout fishing is like from the 50s. But yeah. Trout fishing. That's her hobby.
Wow.
Isn't that a weird hobby for Rachel Maddow? You would think, I don't. It's a very bizarre. I thought that trout fishing was like the Mad Men era.
But don't underestimate her.
I'm not kidding.
She's the top liberal spokesperson today, and she's very good at what she does.
Really, that's why they're doing so well.
Which is misleading people. I bet you if you looked at it, I'm sure Rachel has the highest numbers at the station.
Well, so she has the highest numbers of 10 times 0 is 0.
Okay, go ahead.
The lowest rated show on Fox is higher rated than the highest rated show on MS now.
I understand that. I understand all that. I'm not talking about that.
Well, you haven't seen her in a while. You know what happened with Rachel Maddow is when that Russia thing that she was promoting for years was exposed as fake, she was publicly humiliated, and she's never been able to get over it. And I think she does one night a week because that's all she can face. She can't face people every night after that humiliation. It's kind of, she lost so much credit. she was number one. This is seriously speaking about Rachel Maddow. And the trout fishing is her real hobby. I didn't make that up. I've heard her talk about it. I heard her talk about it to, I want to say Tucker Carlson. I could be wrong, but I've heard her talk about it. She used to have very high ratings, Steve. In all seriousness, she did. She had very high ratings. And when the Russia thing got debunked, even the liberals turned her off, and she's never recovered ever since. And what happened is she alienated her audience because she had been hopping them up on this Russia thing, and when it got debunked, her own audience left her, and that's when she tanked in the ratings. All right, you want to take some more calls, or what do you want to do?
Sure.
All right, let's go. You're on the air.
Yes, Robel from Fort Lauderdale. Good morning, Mr. Brian and Steve.
Oh, my goodness.
Good morning.
Ugh.
Good morning. I'll keep it brief.
Thank you.
Brian, I think you've hit an all-time low. Why are you making fun of deceased people?
Who am I making fun of that's deceased?
I mean, I don't know if you're making fun of him, but you put an AI of Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell has not died. I missed that. Has Mitch McConnell died? Did I miss that in the news? Let me check.
The AI photo that you put with the lady with his wife visiting him at his bedside.
That's his wife. That's Elaine Chao. That's Mitch McConnell's wife. No, he has not. It's not been reported that he's died.
Oh, he hasn't. Well, okay. Well, he's still in critical condition, and you put an AI.
No,
photo,
he's up and awake. No IVs, no medical equipment or anything. No, that's me. I was in the hospital and Elaine Chao, Mitch McConnell's wife, came to visit me.
Okay. And lastly, the thing about what's her name? You said that Democratic Socialist, my cousin. You telling me that your she's 29, you're 55, and you're calling her an imbecile and stuff? I mean, I bet you won't tell her father that your daughter's an imbecile, an idiot.
Now she's your cousin? The woman running in Colorado, the Democrat Socialist, is your cousin now? You said my cousin?
That's just a culture. That's just the culture.
All Ethiopians are cousins? All Ethiopians are cousins?
Yeah, we derive from Kush.
Kush?
The first Ethiopian was Kush. Kush, C-U-S-H, the first nation mentioned in the Bible.
Let me. The first nation. Okay, all right.
So why are you making fun of a 29-year-old? That could be your daughter.
Let me tell you what he's talking about here. Okay, he's talking about the Democratic Socialist who just won the Democrat primary in Colorado. She's originally from Ethiopia. She's the one that said that 9/11 was our fault. Okay? And she's an idiot to say something so stupid.
Another road's going.
I don't care if she's 29 or 129. That's a stupid thing to say. And it shows she's not American.
But for a 55-year-old, she isn't an American. She came as an infant, just like I did. She came like when she was 2.
Yeah, well, she still has the mind of an Ethiopian infant. To say something so stupid.
I think, but I mean, for a 55-year-old to talk about a young lady like that, somebody who's his daughter's age, I don't think that's very classy.
Well, my daughter's not an idiot.
Why? Because she doesn't make comments like she did, you said last
Well,
time.
yeah, my wife and I did a great job. Our daughter doesn't go around saying that 9/11 was the fault of the United States. Which, you don't agree with that, do you?
Well...
He's thinking.
I hold back my comments.
Really? You hold back your comments? Oh my goodness! So you agree with her?
But why? But
listen, we got to run. We got to run
okay.
For our bottom of the hour break. Listen, it is hot. It is that time of year, and if your air conditioner is not cooling off your home, if your AC is blowing hot air, if rooms of your house are not cool in the middle of the day, your air conditioning isn't working. You want to call Sloman Central Air Conditioning. Listen to this. Sloman Central Air Conditioning is offering a high-efficiency 5-ton 18-SEER system that uses R454B refrigerant for just $59.99. This is an incredible deal. And listen to this. With 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 18 months. Plus, it comes with a 5-year bumper-to-bumper service plan, which includes annual system maintenance, filter replacement, and refrigerant and refrigerant. Yes, it's a new product. You get refrigerant, yes. You'll also receive the Sloman Shield home security system installed with 5 years of professional central station monitoring included with your AC package. Give them a call. The number is 561-217-COOL. 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 We'll be right back. Oh, my goodness. All right, Steve, I'll put you on hold. I'll be right back. All right, hang in there.
All right.
Life can leave us with a lot of questions. Why did this happen to me? Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? And where is God in all of it? If you've ever asked those questions, you need to tune into the Healing Philosophers Podcast with The Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Through honest conversations and real-life experiences, each episode explores topics like healing from past hurts, generational karma, letting go of what's holding you back, understanding narcissism, and discovering how God can use even life's hardest moments for a greater purpose. The Healing Philosophers Podcast is about finding hope, growing in your faith, and realizing that your story and every season of your life has meaning. Add the Healing Philosophers Podcast to your Spotify playlist and make sure to share the podcast on all your social media and invite your friends and family to listen in too. Your share could be exactly what someone else needs right now. The Healing Philosophers Podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Healing starts with one conversation. Listen now on Spotify.
Hi, Tom Laporta here. We are Laporta Roofing, a family business since 1983. You are our customer. In other words, our boss. We are here for and because of you, not the other way around. The 2026 rainy season is upon us. Because we haven't had a hurricane in 2 years, all the storm chaser roofing companies have gone out of business, leaving only the strongest and the best contractors. At Laporta Roofing, we will never sell you a roof you don't need. We don't have salesmen or commissions, so we will never pressure you to sign a contract. Also, deposits are not required. At Laporta Roofing, you will always come first. We must earn your trust, and we will. So call me on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602, or on the web at laportaroofing.com.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, $19.98. Queens, only $18.98. And Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
All right, 30 seconds. We'll be back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here. You were talking about this. You just mentioned during the break. I don't know too much about it. I'm aware of it.
Where is the date limit?
I know nothing about that.
Mississippi or something like that. The black football player went out with
went on a vacation with his friends.
Yeah.
And they left him alone. They were all white. He was black, and they left him without a boat to get back from the island, and he turned up dead.
I don't know enough about it. It is in one of those southern Gulf states, right, Mississippi or something. But I don't know much about it. Okay, but other than this. Okay.
It's a sad story. I'll tell
What you said is true, but I could be a little more specific. Okay, he's dead. He's a black kid, and his friends were white kids, and they went to this island where the locals go and party.
Right.
And they left, and then he was found like I don't know how long after dead.
They left without him.
Well, it sounded like they left that he went off to hook up with some girl. Is what I thought, and then he turned up dead. That's what I heard. I mean, that's how I kind of took it. What the media are trying to do is take this story from the 50s. They're trying to turn him into Medgar Evers or something, like they lynched him. But that's
he was a very. I mean, the background of the kid. He was a very straight shooter. He was a big star. He was a very nice guy. Everybody loved him.
Yeah.
He was a super. I mean, I guess I related to him because of my kids, but it just sounded terrible. So
it is terrible.
There, and it was awful.
What do you mean? Hold on a second.
Foul play is suspected in that case.
When you're out with a bunch of guys, right, and you're young and single, and you meet some girl or you're making your move, it's common to stay behind while your friends leave the party, while you're trying to get lucky.
Well,
that's what and my experience is, now maybe my experience is different, but my experience has been when you have a group of white kids and there's one black kid that hangs out with them, he's kind of white too. You know what I mean?
Especially when he's the star of the football team.
Yeah, so, I pulled up the latest on CNN. You want me to go through it?
Go ahead, quick.
Okay. Let's see here. His parents are fighting for answers behind their son's death. He and his friends went to a 4th of July trip to Horn Island, which is an island where no one lives, but the locals go out there to party, okay, off the coast of Mississippi. There's no shelter, no facilities, no communication. His friends made it back home. Wells was a student and wide receiver at the local community college. He didn't make it back. His body was found by the Park Service face down in the water off the shoreline Monday morning. 4th of July was Saturday. They found him on Monday morning. Now, many questions remain unanswered. Why didn't he return on the boat with his friends? Why didn't he have his cell phone with him? Was he involved in an altercation? Did he break off from his friends to speak with a girl? The sheriff's department is investigating. His death has stoked speculation and distrust in part due to Mississippi's racial history. Well, that's like 100 years ago. Come on. The fact that Wells appeared to be the only person of this is CNN I'm reading from, okay? The fact
look, what do we know is factual. We know that he was black, his friends were white. He got separated from them by his choice. He said he was going to hang back and join them. I don't know how he planned on getting back from the island without a boat. And he turned up dead. So those are the facts.
But I wouldn't say right now. But isn't it usually the way it usually works is when there's Mississippi has one of the largest black per capita populations because the Democrat slave plantations and everything else. There's South Carolina, Mississippi, Louisiana, large black populations. Okay, so for a black kid to be hanging out with the white kids is unusual because there's so many blacks. You know what I mean? The whites are like the minorities in these states, right? So, and from my experience, now maybe your experience is different with your kids, okay? But with my experience, when there's one black kid with a group of white friends, typically the black kid's kind of white in personality. Isn't that usually the case?
I think they tend to be more integrated in their social life
exactly
because of the football than somebody who wasn't involved in sports.
Yes. I think
that's safe to say.
And the media are always, they're trying to turn this into a lynching story because it's Mississippi.
Well, I mean, what happened?
You know, I think about my time when I was young, going to parties when I was that age. How many of us are lucky to be alive? How many stupid things happen?
How many parties did you go to where somebody disappeared or died?
Where someone died? No, but there had been some alcohol poisonings where we had to, take care of things. There was some alcohol poisonings.
I don't think this is a case of alcohol poisoning.
Alcohol poisoning can lead to passing out and dying. Sure.
Well, hopefully we'll find out if the authorities do their job.
With young people in parties, alcohol, poisoning is a big deal, and people do all kinds of stupid things. And I've seen some pretty crazy things happen with me and with others where I don't know how we survived, and we're doing things we should not have been doing, and these parties get very dangerous. I don't know of a death. No, I can't remember a death. I think I'd remember that. But I've seen people get hurt. I've seen cars get totaled. I was at a party once where a girl got her foot run over by a car. Things like that.
Her what run over?
Her foot. Somebody drove over her foot. Yeah, I've that happened. I've seen stupid things like that happen, but no deaths. But it's not Al Sharpton's quoted. He's trying to inject himself. Did I see Benjamin Crump involved in this? I think I saw Benjamin Crump on. Yeah, okay.
He is.
Yeah, the new Johnny Cochran, Benjamin Crump. So he's involved in it. But what I've noticed is I haven't heard much about this case in a few days, which kind of tells me that maybe they've gotten wind that it was nothing.
There was a big article in yesterday's Post, and there's an article today in the follow-up in the Post.
Usually, if guys go to a party and someone's left behind, okay, it's because one of them met a girl, right? And that's it. And I saw there was a guy. I don't know what they call them, but how they have the. Let me answer these one. How they have like the Texas Navy that go and help people in distress?
Yes.
They have a version of that in Mississippi. And I saw a guy interviewed a few days ago who's a helicopter pilot with the Mississippi equivalent, and he was on the search for the kid. And he saw him. He's not the one that found him, but he saw him. And he said,
what did he have to say?
Well, remember, they found him Monday in the water, and 4th of July was on Saturday. And he said he did not look waterlogged or bloated from the water, his body. So he had not been face down in the water for the weekend, is what he said, based on his appearance. So the boys were gone. So, what they're trying to imply is that the boys drowned him and left him. But that's not consistent with what the helicopter pilot said.
Well, someone drowned him. It doesn't have to be the guy he was with.
Or he was drunk and passed out. Sometimes, too, what happens with some of these, none of the parties I went to, but when I've seen cases like this, sometimes when someone dies due to stupidity, the kids panic and leave because they don't know what to do. It doesn't mean they killed them. We'll find out soon, I hope. But I'm surprised Benjamin Crump's involved. Because because Benjamin Crump typically gets involved when there's like a municipality to sue, like a city with the kids.
Crump will find somebody to sue.
Not with those kind of pockets. The regular people, parents won't have the money. These are community college students. These aren't some rich kids.
He's not going to sue the parents.
Who would he sue? The state for having the island?
It depends what the story is.
Who would they sue?
I mean, he's not going to look to prove the kid killed himself. He's going to look for somebody to blame.
But who do you sue? There's a criminal thing. Benjamin Crump makes his money off lawsuits.
Exactly.
So who does he sue? The state of Mississippi for not cordoning off the island?
It depends. tell you what he would sue for without knowing what happened. But I'm sure there's a story that he'll locate.
Okay.
He's famous for that.
Okay. Well, listen, let's take our last break. We'll come back with the Gold Report after this. All right, 20 seconds. All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman at the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the morning gold, silver, and precious metals report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking?
Metals are up today, but down yesterday. So, again, we're back and forth action. We did get a test of $4,000 yesterday on gold, actually getting as low as $39.85, but then coming back at the close to close at $4,000.10, which was down $119.30. Silver broke down to $57.53. That was down $2.24. Platinum lost $27 at $1,598, and palladium was down $28 at $12.32. This morning, with rising oil prices, the war continuing in Iran, and the dollar getting weaker, the very things that had suppressed the precious metals are, I believe, going to ultimately be the things that will push the precious metals to new highs. But right now, we're back and forth action, and that action is up this morning on gold, up $90, gaining back most of it, and we were actually up over $100 earlier this morning. The price range being from $39.85 on the low to $4,102 on the high. And right now, we are at $4,090.10. That's up $90. Silver up $1.50 at $59.02 the ounce. Platinum up $32 at $1,630. And palladium up $28 at $1,260 the ounce. So oil, again, $80 a barrel. The U.S. dollar is showing sinking lower, and pretty much the metals responding.
Yeah, and gold and silver, the metals they're often referred to because they're a store of wealth. It's a hedge against inflation. What do you recommend people buy today that they come in, they have somebody they want to buy gold, silver? What are you recommending people pick up today?
I think gold and silver are a screaming buy right now. Gold has a little bit more downside potential, but if 4,000 continues to hold, then we could see a bounce, and we could take out the resistance area of about 4,250. If we take out the 4,250, then 5,000 and 5,500 are back in our sights again. But right now we have these areas of resistance to get through, which could happen in literally a day or two.
Absolutely.
So these are great buying opportunities, and if you haven't bought any precious metals, buy now and then average in if it goes a little bit lower. But this is a great buying opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop by his shop in Boca, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building. You can't miss it, on the south side. And when you enter the Bank of America building, William Youngerman is directly across from the bank inside the lobby at 150 East Palmetto Park Road. You can give him a call toll-free, 800-327-5010, 800-327-5010, and online, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. One of the things, we're talking about parents and kids, one of the things you can really judge a person by is how their kids are, right? Because your kids are like a reflection of you. And,
I believe that.
And you look at Trump's kids, they're awesome. And then you look at Biden's kids. Both Biden's kids are junkies. Both of them. What are the odds of that?
Wouldn't you be?
Well, if my parents were, I probably would, Well,
if your parents were Joe Biden.
Oh, my goodness. But yesterday, when the governor of South Carolina picked Lindsey Graham's sister to replace him to finish out his term, and by the way, I hope she runs in November, because Lindsey had already won the primary. So I hope she wins in November. He adopted his sister when the parents died.
I know the story. It's a great story.
He was 21. I don't remember how old she was, but I didn't know too much. I knew about Lindsey, but I didn't know all these details because he's kept his private life kind of secret. He adopted her so that she would be eligible for his veterans benefits because he was in the Air Force, which is amazing.
Right.
And I saw her yesterday, and he's basically he did raise her, so he's her parent, not just legally, but actually by raising her. And you could tell Lindsey did a great job. And now I think we know why he never married. Because he was taking care of his sister that he adopted. That's why he never married. And I was blown away that he's one of the only people in Congress that are poorer than Lindsey Graham. Not that he was poor, but that are the people that are brand new, that they haven't opened the books up yet. And I would have thought that Lindsey Graham would have been worth $30, $40, $50 million easily. And his net worth, while it isn't poverty, between $1 and $2 million, which includes his home, by Senate standards, he's poor, right?
Yes.
I mean, these people, they go to Congress, they got nothing.
Well, he's honest. He's honest.
He was an honest guy. That's right. He was an honest guy, which you don't get all that much in the government, right?
And if you watched any of the tributes to him yesterday, it came through very loud and clear as you listen to his colleagues lament his passing.
Yeah. His sister seems all right. I hope she runs for that seat because these piranhas, these sharks that are circling the wagons, you got Nancy Mace, Trey Gowdy, and...
well, Trey's a good guy.
He hates Trump. He hates Trump.
So that is not allowed?
No.
When you say hates, excuse me. When you say hates, you mean disagrees.
No, hates him.
He doesn't hate him.
Yeah, he does.
Lindsey Graham's not a hater. He's a born-again Christian.
No. Trey Gowdy hates Trump, and I know this because during the campaign, he has a show on Sunday nights on Fox.
Hold on. I misspoke. I gotta take it. Who did I say?
You said Lindsey Graham, the man who just died. We're talking about Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy hates Trump, and I watched his show during the campaign, his Sunday night show, because they reran it in the middle of the night when I was up doing show prep, and all he did was attack everything Trump was doing on the campaign trail. And another thing with Trey Gowdy, I can't stand looking at him. This guy, he's had the worst cosmetic work or makeover or what. He looks like he's transitioning to another species. He's hard to look at on TV. And then we got Nancy Mace, Trey Gowdy, and Nikki Haley. All three of them want to be the senator. And they all hate Trump, and they're all creeps. Especially Nikki Haley, followed by Nancy Mace, and then Trey Gowdy. And I like Lindsey Graham's sister. I was pretty impressed with the sister yesterday. And I would love her to
She
run.
came up as nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And if she runs, she'd win. And it has to be decided because
Well, the question
Lindsay's
is,
already on the ballot.
because of the emotional situation, would it help pass these important bills that he was, that Graham was trying to get through?
It looks like the Save America Act is going to go through now in his name. They're going to connect it to a budget issue, so it bypasses that filibuster, and it's going to get through. And the thing with Lindsey Graham's sister, she has got a personality that I don't think people could say no to, right? And I don't mean just the sympathy from her brother. She's got a skill set. She's likable. And if she came out in favor of the Save America Act, it would just happen.
No, she's going to. You know that.
Yeah, exactly. Because her
That's
brother
why
wanted
they
it.
picked her.
She said, she wants to finish the work that she says, I want to finish the work that Lindsay was doing, and the Save
There you
America
go.
Act is at the top. So yeah, so
She didn't have to say that for us to know that up front.
Yeah, but she was saying it because she was saying it's going to happen. What I heard her say between the lines was the Save America Act will get passed, and I'm going to make sure it gets passed.
Yes, that's exactly what she said.
Yeah, and I'm
not even between the lines; it's in the lines.
Yeah. And the president's going to address the nation Thursday night in prime time at 9 p.m.
I hope it's not during the World Cup, but it won't be, I'm sure.
Does that ever end? Does it go on for 4 years?
There's 2 more rounds.
How many games are in a round?
Well, it depends which round. I mean, there's 2 games. There's 4 games left.
You don't get bored with it? It goes on too long.
Or the more this is the most exciting part, where the best teams are meeting at the end, and we all collect our bets.
I lost interest when our team, when we're no longer in it. I lost interest.
It was an unfortunate display that we didn't look better.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate, but the thing was a huge success. There's no getting around
it's
it.
never ending. It's every 4 years, but it goes on for months. I mean, gee whiz, enough of the World Cup.
There is no game like soccer. Soccer is the best.
Yeah. I'd rather watch golf. I really would.
Oh my God! Talk about watching paint dry.
Well, it's better paint.
Golf.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. I'd rather watch golf. If Tiger Woods was playing in his prime, you know. But anyway, back to this. So the president's addressing the nation Thursday night in prime time at 9 p.m. It is not about Iran. And the MS Now reported that it's going to be about his investigation into Georgia's election in 2020. I don't know, but I would love it to be him signing the Save America Act. That would be beautiful, and it could be.
There's going to be a bunch of stuff coming up.
Yeah, it's a big week. He doesn't do the primetime addresses that much, so it's got to be big.
The fraud thing is going to end up being a big thing in the next month or so.
Yeah. And they're saying that might be what we get on Thursday. I don't know. We'll find out. And we'll be talking about it on Friday, I'm sure. But I don't know. But I know this, that once the Save America Act is passed and in place, the Democrats are done. They're done. And they know it. That's why they're freaking out so much. You know? And we're going to get it. We're going to get, for the first time, we're going to get true and accurate election results, not, what we would normally get. Now, we're almost out of time, so we don't have a lot of time left, but I want to talk about Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental, Steve, real quick. We have we don't have a lot of time left, but I was talking earlier, and, Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental has an old-fashioned dental practice. It really does. It's like out of a Norman Rockwell movie, or a Norman Rockwell painting that you would see in some old movie. It really is. He's an old-fashioned doctor with an old-fashioned family practice, and his prices are old-fashioned too, right? He's highly skilled. He does incredible work, and his prices are from another era. And that's one of the things that makes him such a great family dentist, is he prices his dental work that are affordable for the family.
And if you're sensitive, if you're one of those people like I am, I'm very squeamish about dental work in general. I'm kind of a bad patient. Dr. Gupta really puts you at ease. He relaxes you. I don't get all the anxiety that I usually get, used to get before I found Dr. Gupta. He's the best, and whatever your dental problems are, he'll take care of them. And he gives you always.
See, if I don't give out the number now, we're going to run out of time. So let me
give him the number.
954-922-4633. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633. For Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental, give him a call. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Take care. All right, guys. Hey, listen, thanks for tuning in. And if you're new, welcome to the program. Make sure you subscribe. And everyone, before you go, do me the favor of liking the video, guys. When you like the video, it gets the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel. So please like the video before you go. All right, my name's Brian. I'll see you this afternoon. Take care.